David Jameson says the force is also reviewing its protection of certain communities.
There are those in the Jewish community nationally, and there are a substantial number of Jews in the West Midlands as well. We are looking at the security of them and their safety. And of course there is the safety and security of those in the Muslim community, because they too at the present moment are under some threat.
A man has died after hitting a man and crashing into a tree in Wolverhampton. The man, believed to be in his 70s, was driving a Citroën which was involved in a crash with a Peugeot in Stafford Road in Oxley. The Peugeot driver got out to talk to him, but he apparently kept moving, hitting the driver and finally stopping when his car crashed into the tree. Police say the circumstances of the incident are very confusing, and they're asking anyone who saw it to contact them. The 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech will be marked in Birmingham tonight. Artists from across the city will come together to remember the life and legacy of the civil rights leader. Community activist Desmond Jadu organised the event.
We've got about 25 acts appearing at the Studio Library Theatre in Centenary Square, and it's really to celebrate the achievements that Martin Luther King made during his lifetime.
The weather, a bright but cold day today. Some snow is possible at times too. The afternoon temperature 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. Tonight we'll have a widespread severe frost with temperatures going right down to -6. That's 21 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays.
9 till 12.
Oh, dear.
BBC WM 95.6.
Really, just, I'm just, blimey, seriously? 3 more hours of this. I think I peaked about 35 minutes ago. You missed it, dear listener. I'm really tired all of a sudden. I've got a mini Mars. Is this mini or is it fun size? I never know the difference. But I'm going to have a little sugar boost in a minute. That'll sort me out. Lots to talk about on the show today, including how do I stop my kids saying, oh my God? Oh my God. I know where he's got it from. This idiot here. Oh, here's something. This will be the thing that goes. The cupboard where we keep our shoes really stinks. It's just vile. It's vile. I don't quite know how to get rid of the stink. Oh, yeah, and teachers having sex with kids.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 00
9956.
BBC WM 95.6.
03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. It's one of those shows. We've kind of got lots. There's lots of bits to talk about. We're going to talk about gay schools later on. Imagine a gay school. Well, there might be one in Manchester if certain people get their way. I spoke to the person who's kind of investigating this before the show, Amelia Lee, and she puts forward a good argument. But potentially completely wrong, segregating gay kids. We'll talk about that later on. I want to talk as well about these... there have been 2 stories in the paper this week. There have been a few more, actually. There's one in the paper today, another one that's an ongoing case. But there have been 2 stories in the paper of teachers having sex with pupils, OK? So there's the 44-year-old RE teacher. And does the fact he's an RE teacher make it slightly worse? I think it does. Who had sex with a 16-year-old girl, and the judge said that she had groomed him. What? What? Really? The 16-year-old girl had groomed a 44-year-old RE teacher? He got let off. He got to suspended sentence or something. I don't know. Then there's another story in the Birmingham Mail today of a female teacher who had sex with a 16-year-old boy, and she went to prison. It seems that with both these stories, they're kind of putting the blame on the women, and that strikes me as odd. It does strike me as odd that would be the case. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. We'll get to that in a bit. We'll talk to someone from Kidscape after 15:15 about that. But the burning issue of the day, this cupboard, Joe, it's a cupboard, right, where we put all the shoes in. Oh, blimey, there's an echo. Hey, what's going on there? You want some kind of? Were you in some kind of arena?
I'm in the toilet.
Oh, flipping it! There's an image.
Why is that? Ooh.
There we go. We'll say goodbye to that. Anyway. Let me know if you think you may have sorted that problem out. It sounds like you're coming out of a speaker somewhere that should be muted. So we've got this cupboard, and all the shoes are in this cupboard, right? And the coats are in this cupboard. And, there's a word for it. What would the word be? Is it like, not closet? What's the word for it? That's better.
It's a shoe cupboard, surely.
Well, no, you can't. There's a word for it.
No, it's just...
I want to say airing cupboard, but it's not that.
It's a shoe cupboard?
Cloakroom? Cloakroom.
Well, that's where you would put your cloaks.
Well, how many people go to a nightclub with cloaks these days? Boy, oh boy, am I envious of girls, because girls can wear cloaks and capes.
Yeah,
and vampires.
Really in.
But men, if I wore a cape, people would laugh at me. I'd love a good cape. Just like a mid-length one that comes down to my waist.
It would really suit you, actually.
It would look flipping awesome. But so we've got all of the shoes and all of the coats, and I'm going to call it a cloakroom. And all of the scarves and things like that. And it flipping stinks. I mean, it's awful.
You just need to get rid of the stinky shoes.
Well, that's all the shoes. I mean, it's...
Well, all... Are they...
The shoes... The thing is, the shoes on their own, they don't particularly stink. But with you put them all together, you combine them all together, and it just creates an unholy... It smells like what I'd imagine Satan's backside to smell like. It's an unholy, awful... I can't remember any words this morning. The next 3 hours is going to be hard work. I can't remember a single flipping word. What's the stench? There we go. It's unholy. And we put those sticks in. You know the sticks you get in a jar? The middle-class air fresheners, they're a bit poncy. Sticks in a jar. That didn't work. The stench negated the sticks. I got some of that, is it Febreze?
Yeah.
The odour neutraliser? Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't work.
Well, you need to tackle the actual shoe problem, don't you? You need to put odour eaters or something in the shoe.
Odour eaters? Is it 1976? Are they still a thing?
I think they might be.
Flipping it.
Identify the stinkiest shoes, chuck them, and then... You must be able to get some sort of powder or something to shake in the shoes.
03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call, although I suspect the phones are broken again this morning. Normally at this stage in the morning, Ramjit would have phoned up to have a whinge. Mohammed would have phoned up to have had a pop. Are the phones broken again?
I think so.
Yeah, OK. They broke yesterday. I'm sure they can break again today. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You're more than welcome. You can text as well, 81333. Start your text WM. It's going to be kind of one of those bitty shows today. I'm feeling bitty. I'm feeling a little bit... Bitty McLean, local artist, wasn't he? He was from Birmingham, wasn't he? Local artist. I'm feeling a bit, What happens, and we'll kind of see where we go. I want to talk as well later on. There's a great story in The Sun yesterday. Let me find... this was yesterday's Sun, right? I like this. I like this for lots of reasons. Ventilator films ban. Britain's largest cinema chain has apologised for turfing out a wheelchair-bound man whose ventilator was deemed too noisy. Now... Ventilators are quite noisy. They're the... That's a ventilator. Richard Bridger, 31, who has muscular dystrophy, had been watching Taken 3. Oh, I'm so sorry, Richard. I mean, of all the films to go and see, Taken 3? He was watching it with his carer. But staff told him to leave the Odeon cinema in Epsom, it's posh down there, after 6 filmgoers complained. So, my first reaction is, that's outrageous. He's a fella, he's got muscular dystrophy. My cousin's one is no longer with us, one has muscular dystrophy. Horrible degenerative disease. That ventilator is, it's doing his breathing for him. How outrageous. 6 people complained. 6 people were annoyed so much that this fella had a machine to help him breathe that they went and complained. My first thought, And then my second thought was, well, hang on a second, though. The cinema's well expensive, isn't it? It can be like 10, 12 quid for a ticket. And then it can cost you like 20 quid if you get sweeties and a drink and stuff. It could be a lot of money. Admittedly, it's only taken 3, but an awful, awful film. But if I was in a cinema and there was a noise, then you'd have the right to complain. I've told people to shut up in the cinema before. There was this was a long time ago, I went to see Paranormal Activity. Ugh, flipping it. If you're scared of doors moving an inch, then that's the film for you. And there were these girls talking in the back, and someone asked them to be quiet, and they were for a bit. And then they started talking really loudly. I went, "Excuse me, miss, would you shut the flip up?" Silence for the rest of the film, and I got my money back. Boom! So I'd tell people to shut up if they're in the cinema and they're using their mobile phone, they've got the light on, or if they're talking, or if they're being annoying. You couldn't tell a fella with a ventilator to shut up, could you? 03453 009956. Where do your sympathies lie? With the fella who can't breathe and needs a machine to help him breathe, or the people who are having their cinema experience ruined? Ruined! Richard's father, Steve, 57. Why do we need to know Richard's dad's age? 57 years old. Why? How is that taking the story on? Anyway, he's 57. I wish him the best of luck. Richard's father, Steve, 57, said, "The ventilator does make a small noise, but nowhere near as loud as eating popcorn. It's disgusting he should be treated in this way." An Odeon spokesman said, "We are looking at what happened to ensure it never happens again." Now, I was at the cinema last Sunday. Last Sunday, I took the boys to go and see Paddington. If you've not seen Paddington, it's flipping brilliant, right? Although bizarrely, there were a couple in their 50s sat next to us, watching Paddington, like grown-ups. They didn't have kids with them.
That's okay. I think lots do, don't they?
No, it's weird. That's not okay. That's weird. That's a weird thing to do. Shut up, Molly. We're trying to do a radio show here, for goodness sakes. Unbelievable. That's a weird... But
it's not. It's not weird.
There was a fella in the background. He wouldn't stop. He was cackling like a witch.
It's one of those films that makes you giggle, though.
Yeah, well, there's giggle, and then there's... Oh! Like that. It was outrageous. So that I very nearly turned round to him and said, "Look, sorry, mate, could you shut the flip up, please? Because your laughter is
for enjoying yourself."
Well, it was just.
What do you have to do when
it's a kids' film?
You just sit there like that.
It's a kids' film, and his laughter was inappropriate. It was scary. What was great, though, is my boys...
You're miserable this morning. What's the matter with you?
Not miserable.
You're grumpy.
I'm realistic.
No, you're grumpy.
I am realistic. He was ruining the film. And I have told people to shut up in the cinema. I would tell people to shut up in the cinema. Would I complain about a fella with a ventilator?
Probably, yes. You would.
Well, yeah, I might do. I might do if it was disturbing my... I want to hear the doubly sound in full stereo. Little Spinal Tap reference for you there, kids. 03453. Is it worth me giving the phone number out?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, no one's calling in. I mean, the phones are really busy. No one's calling in. Could just be me and you.
Because you're grumpy.
No, I'm not grumpy.
You are grumpy this
morning. I am realistic. I tell you why I'm grumpy. I'm going to a 5-year-old's birthday party this afternoon, and I am dreading it. I'm dreading it. Why am I dreading it? It's my boy who's 5.
Oh.
No, He was... I need to talk about my boy because his language is getting inappropriate. But it was his birthday on, I don't know, in the week. And he got all his presents, right? Well, I'm grateful little so-and-so. Got all his presents. Top present this year, Operation.
Brilliant.
They've made it too easy.
Oh,
the funny bone's gone and they've made it bigger. Top present, Operation. And then he opens all the presents and he goes, right, I want more presents. Beg your pudding. I want more presents. Right, you keep saying that, and I'm taking those presents back to the shop. No, you won't. I want more presents. And you're not allowed to hit them anymore. Let's get the travel news. Here's Liz.
Thanks, Ian. Good morning. It's still looking a little bit restricted around Harborne. You have a lane shut in each direction, Harborne Park Road between High Street and Vivian Road, and also the High Street between Station Road and its junction with Harborne Park Road. All the roads are open now, but as I say, lane closures in place because of this unsafe building. So you just need to be a bit cautious around there, and it's likely to cause delays with, as I say, the lane restrictions in place. There's still a revised service for local bus routes as well. Busy through Selly Oak on Bristol Road around Selly Oak Triangle, and as you head towards Priory Road, going inbound in particular. Around Dartmouth Circus is looking a bit heavy going as well, going in and out of Birmingham. Not too bad on the M5 as you head towards 4A. There was a lorry that broke down, but it was quickly cleared out of the carriageway. Your match day travel sees Walsall fans off to Colchester for this afternoon's game. It's not looking too bad at all on the M6 or the M1 or the A14 indeed, if you cross that way towards the A1 and the A120 as well, and the M11 all seem to be moving quite nicely. Blues fans are off to Leeds as you head along the M42 and then onto the M1. That's looking okay. There are roadworks on the M1, so just be mindful of that. 28 to 31. And if you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 0022 88.
On Inside Out this week,
we're getting now gangs on a commercial basis, if you like, going out, taking deer overnight.
Poaching is on the rise. We hear how gamekeepers are taking on illegal hunters.
You get a phone call at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, we've got poachers. You never know what you're going to. It isn't a very nice experience.
That's Inside Out, Monday 7:30 on BBC One.
So my boy at the moment won't stop, and he's got it from me, and boy oh boy, he could have got a lot worse from me. I found my language in front of my, because I'm really hot on not swearing in front of the kids. I remember doing it once in the car, right? I forgot the kids were in the car, and the fella in front cut me up, and I said something, and my boy said, "Daddy, what's that word?" And I, very quick as a flash, went, "Oh, it means a male hen." Managed to turn it around. But I'm really good at not swearing in front of the kids, right? But my boy, my eldest boy, all of a sudden is going around going, "Oh, my God. Oh, my God." And he's obviously got it from me because it's, it's kind of a thing I say. It's not really, I don't think, appropriate for a 5-year-old to say it. So I'm trying to brainwash him or convert him or change him somehow so he says, "Oh, my gosh." And I don't know how to do it. Oh, my God. How on earth do I stop a kid saying, "Oh, my God"? 03453 009956. Is this thing on? Hey, I'm just going to go through the papers until you lot call in and tell me to shut up. I'm more than happy to do that. Where's the Mirror? There's a great story in the Mirror. And boy, oh boy, can I just say, newspapers, I'm so glad I'm not watching Big Brother this time. I'm not being paid to watch Big Brother, so I'm not going to watch Big Brother. That'll learn them. There's a great story in the Mirror, page 26, if you want to read along at home. I say great. Yeah, the phones are working. Flippin' heck. What the flippin' hell is going... Have they all suddenly got wise to the fact there is no act and that actually there are other radio stations with good shows on? I knew it was inevitable. I just didn't think it would happen right now. Flippin' heck. Molly, are you any good at doing voices? Good. Give us a call. A drunk man... Well, this is kind of a romantic story that I think has been twisted. Man drops trousers and tries to have sex with a pillar box. First of all, well done, the Daily Mirror, for using the word pillar for pillar box. Post box, isn't it? A drunk man tried to have sex with a post box as disgusted shoppers looked on at a busy street. Paul Bennett, 45, pulled his trousers down and started making sexual advances. Sexual advances? To a post box? He shouted, "Wow." A shocked woman... did he stand on a box or something? A shocked woman reported him to police. Katie Beattie, prosecuting, said the woman heard swearing outside her window and saw Bennett arguing with a female shopper. The shopper left and Bennett pulled his trousers down before performing a sex act with the postbox. The woman saw Bennett in a... Oh, gosh. The woman saw Bennett in a star position, so he's like this, shouting, "Wow," rubbing against the postbox. The victim was alarmed and disgusted by his behaviour. Bennett was told to sign the sex offenders register. And he's got to pay the woman £50 compensation? Flippin' heck. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Linda, stay there. I shall come to you shortly. I want to move on to perhaps something a little bit more serious. Can a 16-year-old groom a teacher? Two cases. Well, do you know what? There are a few cases in the paper this week, but two I want to focus on. The big one that you would have seen is the male teacher, 44, he's an RE teacher, was given a suspended sentence for having sex with a 16-year-old female pupil. The judge said that she'd groomed him. But yesterday, a female teacher in Birmingham, and here's the difference, was jailed for 2 years for having sex with a 16-year-old boy. Well, should they have been treated the same, or is each case different? 03453 009956. Let's speak to Claude Knights from the charity Kidscape. Morning, Claude.
Good morning to you.
I'm confused by both of these stories. What's kind of your reaction to them?
We have to say that I think you're right. You know, each case will be different, and there will be facts, that we're not party to. But can I just make an overall point, and that's I really think working in sort of safeguarding children's sort of sector, it's so concerning, always concerning. When any teacher betrays his or her position of trust. The pupil relationship, is governed by really robust guidelines, which are central, to the integrity of the profession. And both these cases, I think it does undermine that.
And that's the thing, Claude, isn't it? Because lots of people, focusing on the 44-year-old male RE teacher, lots of people have said, well, she was 16, so she was legal, and it sounds like she was a bit of a tar, and she led him on. But whatever she did...
Yes, he's the adult, he is the adult.
He's the adult, but he's also in a position of responsibility, and not just being an adult, he's the teacher.
He's in loco parentis, he is, really he is in a situation where obviously his training and his intellect, one would think, would, even with temptation, would lead him to know that that kind of relationship is totally inappropriate. And some of the details which some of your listeners will have read in the press, are very sordid. And, it is just not the way that you can conduct yourself when you are really, in charge of children. And from what my understanding, the sort of the relationship in its wider sense could have started when she was actually 15, but that isn't the point. We do have guidelines, robust ones, that do say that even if she'd been, 17, 18, as he is her teacher, and a religious education teacher at that.
Can a child, Claude, can a person of 16 ever groom an adult?
Well, I know that young people are developing, more quickly, and, there is precociousness and all of that. But, in general terms, I think it is absolutely wrong to suggest that a vulnerable young person, in which case, I think probably in both these cases, can in any way be responsible, for their own abuse. I think, you've got such an imbalance of power in that first one, with 44, 15, 16, and the whole teacher-pupil relationship. It's such an imbalance of power. I think the grooming word is not correct to use here. And I think even the judge, who's been criticised for her comments, was put that into inverted commas. Is grooming the right word? Absolutely not.
Now, Claude, let me... how can I phrase it? There will be gentlemen listening. Okay, if we go to the other story, a 16-year-old with a 28-year-old female teacher. There will be blokes listening who think, at the age of 16, there was a teacher that I would love to have slept with, and given half the chance, I'd have been in there.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the big problems, actually, when you have a boy, a young man, sort of in a sense, having sexual relations with an older female. There's always, there will be this wow factor, isn't he lucky? But actually, female sexual abuse is something that's being recognised more and more. And, there are repercussions for a young man, a young boy who is used in this way. It's not neutral, and it does tend to, in later life, kind of colour the way that he will conduct his sexual relationships and the way that he will view women. It's still exploitation, and it's still the teacher-pupil thing that has been breached, the trust, the betrayal of trust. If you were his father, or I, his mother, I think we would have very great concerns about this.
I tell you what interested me with the 16-year-old girl is that I read in one of the papers that she was described as vulnerable and from an emotionally damaged background. But yet she was still being blamed for what had happened.
Well,
I thought that was incredible.
Well, and that is what most Kidscape and other child-centred child protection charities have really not been able to accept at all. As I say, how can a vulnerable young person with that in any of these situations be blamed for her own abuse? It is this situation where and a number of judges perhaps come out with these comments, and they really muddy the water. I think we need to know that was wrong, and no matter how precautious, the adult is the one who has the responsibility for this, for this course of action, for this situation.
Claude, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much. Claude Knights from the charity Kidscape. I'd love your thoughts on both these stories, please, because I know... hey, listen, I was a 16-year-old boy once, flipping it years ago, like 25, 26 years ago. I know as a 16-year-old boy, if there was a teacher that, I really had the hots for, and had she seduced me as a 16-year-old boy, notice I'm using the word seduced and not abused, isn't that interesting? I would have thought, wow, fantastic. In the eyes of a 16-year-old boy, looking back, I can see that would be completely inappropriate now. 03453 009956.
Iain Lee.
On BBC WM.
95.6. The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
If proof need be that the phones are working, Linda's in Streatley. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling, because I'll be honest, nobody else is.
Oh, well, there you go. It's because you're ranting.
Well, it's only Terry from Perry Bar is on as well, and I mean, that's...
Hello, Terry.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, Terry, have you moved?
Yes.
Have you moved to near an old steam train or something? What the hell is going on there?
Well, we've always lived here, but I thought Terry from Perry Bar was good radio, so... Sorry, I'm just being pretentious.
What's that noise in the background, you pretentious old fool?
It's the kettle boiling for me tea, fair trade tea.
Flip it.
Can you go with my Weetabix, Terry?
Oh... Run out of Weetabix.
I haven't had my cup of tea yet. I didn't put the kettle on in case they told me off for it making too much noise.
Thank you, Linda. You see, Terry, Linda understands how it works. You're an old showbiz queen coming up with your names that sound good like Terry from Perry Bar, but you don't know the basics of turning a kettle off. Thank you, Linda. Very professional, very professional. Right, Terry, shut up.
Yes.
Thank you. Linda, what would you like to say, my dear?
I'd like to say that you've really upset me this morning.
Oh, go on, why's that?
Telling me I'm too old to go and see Paddington.
You are, Linda.
How do you can't, that's ageist.
Yeah, that's right.
Totally ageist.
You can't, it's a kid's film. And listen...
No, I won't have it.
Yes.
Right, you can't have sat and watched all the Disney films with your lovely children.
Let it go, can't hold it back anymore. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Oh, is anybody... Your singing bothers me.
Elsa, do you want to build a snowman? Yeah?
But have you never actually... listened to the innuendo?
It's my favourite bit of the film. Elsa, do you want to build a snowman? Sorry, what were you saying, Linda, sorry? I was too busy enjoying Frozen.
OK, but
Yes.
you have to listen to the innuendo in these films that is aimed at the adults, because adults have to go and watch these
There's
with
no
the children.
innuendo in Frozen.
I don't know, I can't hear it over my 21-year-old daughter singing to it.
Paddington has got a little bit of adult humour in it, yes. But it's a kids' film. Listen, if you...
No, where does it say? Where does it say only children can go and watch it?
No. And listen, if you go with a child and you're an adult, then that's a bonus. You get to see it, and that's great, and that's fantastic. And it is very funny, and it is very moving, and there were some great bits, and I thought the mum in it was excellent, right? But you can't go as an adult without a child to see a film like that. It's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. You have to... How do critiques critique it?
How do who?
The critics critique it. That
Well,
was very good for a Saturday morning.
It was. Well, you nearly got the day right as well. Well, they go to private screenings where they don't look like idiots.
No, but you see, you're categorising people. And if you want people to phone in, you've got to be more flexible.
OK, so let's introduce some flexibility. What would you like me to say?
I don't know. You'd like to say that it's well worth a view.
OK. Terry,
Can I just make another point about all the children's films and something that's...
Hang on, you can in a second, Linda. I'm trying to be flexible. Now stop it. My flexibility will
I might put my kettle on if you keep shouting at me.
Terry.
Yes.
I thoroughly recommend that you, as an old man,
yes,
go and see the movie Paddington on your own.
No, I'd rather see Back Puss. I loved Back Puss.
I flipping hate it. Let's be careful we don't go down the old TV shows of the 70s, because that's that way death lies. But
the nog, mate.
Bagpuss was awful. Bagpuss, I remember honestly watching Bagpuss. I used to have nightmares about Bagpuss because it was so boring and it was so slow. Time seemed to freeze when that programme was on.
Yeah. You were talking about insinuendos. What about the insinuendos in Rainbow?
The insinuendos?
Yeah. Innuendos.
I've got no idea. Linda, what's an insinuendo?
An innuendo. Oh, you're just being so inflexible.
No, Linda, he's made a word up.
Well, that's fine. What's the problem with that? How did we get words?
Terry, yes, tell us about the insinuendo in Rainbow.
Well, they're all... I can't. It's too early in the morning.
But it's insinuendo.
All right, then, there was a lot of in-gay jokes. Are you satisfied?
Well, I think we can say in-gay. What in-gay jokes were there?
Subtlety.
Don't tell me that Zippy was a reference to gimps or something.
Well, one of the characters must have been gay. I mean, what about the Teletubbies?
Well, hang on. Not Jeffrey. Was it George? George was gay? Yes, definitely. Yeah. I think that's established.
And there's the Teletubbies as well, Tinky Winky. Oh, come on, what was the guy on when he, invented that programme?
You see, Linda, this is what flexibility does. It allows Terry to go off into his own fantasy world.
Yeah.
Isn't that what life's about?
Oh, blimey.
If you lived in reality, it would be scary.
Can I tell you, the only reason you two are on this long is because literally no one else has called in.
Can I make another point?
Yeah, sure. You could be here until midday, you two, if you want.
No, I can't, because I've got somewhere very important to go at 10 o'clock.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Save Streetley Library campaign to keep our library open.
Oh, that's exciting.
Which is why I think it's so important that everybody has access to films, books and everything else, which was the other, perhaps more serious point I wanted to make.
No, go on. And I go on, and you can give a little plug for your Save the Library campaign as well, because I'm a big fan of libraries.
Well, we are in Streetley, on the very periphery of Warsaw.
Ever read a book, Terry?
Oh, yes, I love libraries. We've got a local library. They do talking books.
Oh.
And
I don't like the talking books. That's cheating.
And they do computers, and they do lots of specific reading book groups for people who may struggle to read a whole book these days, and they insist them to read.
When did they change the rules on libraries, Linda? Because when I was a kid, you weren't allowed to make any noise in a library. Now, anything goes.
Well, because that's access to things, isn't it? It was... What was appropriate about keeping a child quiet when they're trying to read so they can share the book with other people?
Yeah, I remember getting thrown out of the library on the Britwell shopping estate in
Slough. I can imagine
Slough.
You've been thrown out of a lot of places.
All right, Terry, don't encourage her. Go on.
No, I have to go everywhere twice.
Let's carry on about libraries, can we? Just for a minute.
Yeah, go on, Linda.
I can say what I have to say.
Yes.
Everywhere's got to make cuts, and our libraries have to be different.
Yes.
But I think it's so sad when a council is saying one thing in its publications. And I have to say, I've never sat in a council chamber before last Monday, but then when they debate issues and they start bear-baiting each other for a different term that one of our members has used to say Streetley Library, they say something completely different. And when it's around something as important as libraries, for the education of everybody that can be used differently to save money, do you know, it really gets up my nose.
And what a beautiful nose it is.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very sweet. Those council meetings are dull, aren't they?
OK, the one on Monday wasn't that I went to.
Did it kick off?
Yeah, but not in a good way. Debating's good, isn't it, like they're having now, if it brings other points of view over to people. When it's people just slagging everybody off, it's not easy.
Those are the best debates, aren't they, Terry, you old plum?
Oh, yeah, go, girl. Give them hell.
Give them hell. Linda, listen, if people want to come and join your protest today, where do they go?
We're not protesting today. We meet on a lot of Saturdays at the Methodist Church.
Why don't you meet at the library?
Because it's a conflict of interest for the librarians, so you're not allowed to.
Hang on a second. So there's a campaign group to save the library, and you're not allowed to meet at the library?
No, we're not, but I'm not outraged by that.
That's insane, isn't it?
Well, it is. I can understand your reaction to that.
Who says you can't meet at the library to save the library?
Well, you can't because of conflict of interest. You're dragging the librarians into it.
Well, no, you're not. You go and sit round the table and you all get... It's a library. It's a public meeting place.
It is a public meeting place for books, etc. We're not actually talking about books. The only way... Well,
Can't you sit there and get some Ruth Rendells and some Catherine Cooksons and hold them up, but then whisper about how you're going to save the library?
Not when you've got 50 people supporting you. No, you can't most weeks and even more.
Well, surely, Linda, what you need to do to prove that the library is still a valid building in the 21st century, the 50 of you go and meet there, you use it, you make it busy, you make it full of life, and then you all take out a book.
But that's the point. It's already full of life and there's no room for us.
Oh.
They want to close it.
Oh, well, maybe they should close it then. Sounds like there's a lot of dossers in there. These people need to get out and get a life.
I don't know. Perhaps you'd like to have that discussion with the leader of Warsaw Council and see what he says.
Linda, let us know how it goes, because I'm a big fan of libraries.
Will you? I'll phone you next Saturday and let you know how it goes, or I'll email you in the week and perhaps you want to call me.
Thank you, Linda. We'll speak to you later on. Ta-ta. I'm surprised by that, Terry, that they can't meet in the library to save the library.
Well, that's rather strange, because we're trying to save Langley Library, and we had a meeting there within the library, so it's very, very community-based libraries. We need local libraries.
I like a good library. The local library near me, I go there, I use their Wi-Fi, and I do a little bit of work and a little bit of quiet time away from the boys. I love it. Anyway, Terry, what do you want? I feel betrayed by you,
changing the
Terry.
subject, going back again into Fantasyland, was it a male or female letterbox?
Oh, this is the fella that was having it away with the letterbox. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
People are weird, aren't they?
Yeah, what was he done for? GPO?
Oh, Terry from Oldbury.
Well, you know what they say, if you can't come right.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Terry. There we go, you see. This fella signed the sex offenders register, not Terry, the guy that had sex with a pillar box. Although, I mean, I don't... But why would Terry... I feel betrayed by Terry, Joe. All this... I mean, I've been here... What have I been here? 18 months? Something like that. And it's always been Terry from Perry Bar.
I know. He's been lying to us the whole time.
He was doing it for a little bit of showbiz. And then he just thought, do you know what? I'm gonna come out as being from Oldbury.
Wouldn't you say LA? Or somewhere really, really ultra glam?
What a plum! 03453 009956. I think I know how the show's going to go today. I just think I know. Simon claims to be from Kings Winford. He could be from anywhere. Morning, Simon.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, boss?
About Paddington, the movie.
Yes.
I'd love to go and see that, but nobody will go with me.
Oh, mate. And you can't go on your own, can you? Because it's a kids' film.
I don't know. I'm not sort of into going places on my own anyway. I've even tried to bribe my daughter to go, and no, she won't go.
How old's your daughter?
No matter what I'll do.
How old's your daughter?
15.
Mate, honestly, it is such a good film. I was expecting it to be rubbish. It was brilliant. It was funny. It was a little bit rude in some bits for the adults, but the kids wouldn't have got it. It was exciting. The family was great.
I've been into Paddington since I was little. I grew up with him, you know what I mean?
Oh. The thing is, Simon, there's nothing better. One of my favourite things is going to an afternoon screening of a film, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, on my own. And it's wonderful. And if you get, sometimes, I've only had it a few times, no one else in the cinema. Oh, man. It's one. Because what I do is, if there's no one else is there, I get up, 20 minutes into it, I'll move somewhere else, then I'll go and I'll move around as though I've got a massive private cinema. It's wonderful. I love it.
It doesn't matter what, as I said, what I'm trying to do. I'll try to persuade her with everything. Oh, no, she won't come with me.
Oh, well, that's sad. Well, wait till it comes out on DVD.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to do that, yeah, by the look of it.
Hey, Simon, supposing you were in a cinema, right?
Yeah.
And you are trying to watch a film. You all right?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Got a little bit of a cough.
I'm all right now.
You sorted it. Okay. So you're in the cinema, right? And you're watching a film, but you're being disturbed because there's a fella in the corner in a wheelchair and his ventilator is going... Would you complain?
No.
Not at all. Even if it was ruining the film for you.
How do you come up with all these stupid scenarios?
This is true. This is in the newspaper. This happened. Yeah,
right.
Richard Bridger, 31, got booted out of the cinema because 6 people complained about his ventilator.
Oh, no, you can't complain about things like that. People crunching on popcorn and Lord knows what else, yeah, go and slap them. But no, if it's somebody who's got a ventilator or something like that, well, you've got to let live.
But even if, Simon, you paid 10, 12 quid to go to the pictures, right?
Yeah,
and you can't hear the soundtrack, you can't hear the film because there's a fella making a big noise with a bit of machinery.
I shouldn't think it would drown the noise of the film out.
Some of those ventilators, they are very, very noisy.
I don't think it would... you just try and move a little bit nearer to the wall of the cinema or to the front of the speakers,
Okay.
I don't think it would drown the cinema noise out.
Simon, good to talk. What are you doing for the rest of the day?
I don't know yet. Probably just chilling out for a bit, because it's been a bit of a rough week, and then I'll go and see my dad.
Hey, all right. Well, have a nice one with your dad, Simon. Thank you. Paul's in Redditch. Morning, Paul.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
I'm not happy with you, fella.
Sorry?
I'm not happy with you.
Hey, what's wrong, mate?
You accused George from Rainbow of being gay.
Yeah.
How do you substantiate that?
Well, come on. He was... All right. He was very, very camp. And he was...
No. Ian, I'm not...
What? You can't deny that George was camp.
Ian, I am 56 years of age.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I have worshipped George most of my childhood life, and I tell you who is gay, Emu. Without a shadow of a doubt.
How on earth have you got Emu is gay?
Well, work it out. Where's the hand go?
Oh, flipping heck. George was gay and there's nothing wrong with it. It was obvious, wasn't it? He was very camp, but I think
camp doesn't necessarily mean he's gay.
No. But I mean, it was the 70s. He was pink.
Yeah.
And he was very, very camp. I think it was.
Doesn't necessarily mean he's
no, it
gay.
doesn't. It doesn't necessarily mean it. I just think
He might be in
terms of
touch with his feminine side.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I just think in the 70s, that was kind of the most you could get away with at hinting at homosexuality in mainstream media.
Possibly, but I don't think it's a given.
No, it's not given. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. It's going to be one of those shows, I think, where you're just going to phone up about random nonsense. So where have we been so far? We've talked about kids grooming adults. We've talked about George from Rainbow being gay. We've talked about Paddington, the film, which is brilliant, but you can't go to it if you're an adult on your own. You need to take a kid. Otherwise, it's a bit... Well, it is a bit weird, isn't it? And I love going to the cinema on my own. It's one of my favourite things. I don't do it often enough, but if I've got an afternoon free, I'll go to the pictures at 2:30. The cinema will be... In fact, the last film I saw on my own was here in Birmingham. This was a while ago. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Oh, there's a film. Up for what? Something like 37 Oscars or something? 12? I don't know. There's a film. And I watched it in the cinema. There were 3 other people in there with me. It was fantastic. It was like being at a private screening with 3 other people. 03453 009956. How do I stop my kids saying, oh, my God, and I've got a really stinky cupboard full of shoes? What the hell do I do with that? Let's get the travel. Here's Liz.
Thanks, Ian. It's not looking too bad on the whole. You have the restrictions around Harborne to contend with. Harborne Park Road, lane shut in both directions between the High Street and Vivian Road. Similar on the High Street itself between Station Road and its junction with Harborne Park Road. It's because of this unsafe building. It's a load of damage caused in the rather windy conditions during the week. But you can get down the road now, obviously, with those lane restrictions in place rather than anything else. But you will still face some congestion at times. Not too bad around Selly Oak Triangle at the moment. Bristol Road inbound seems to have eased off for the minute, heading towards Priory Road. Around Dartmouth Circus is looking okay. Your match day travel sees Walsall fans off to Colchester this afternoon. The main motorway routes, the M6, the M1, the A14 across the M11, all looking okay so far. Blues fans going to Leeds, the M42 and towards the M1, or the A38 if you want to choose that route as well, towards the M1, all looking clear. On the M1 itself, there are roadworks 28 to 31, so just be aware of that and the lane and speed restrictions in place. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
Hunger, desire and fitness play a big part in this division.
Next week, BBC WM 95.6 hosts a Wolves Fans Forum with Kenny Jackett.
If you tell yourself you're tired, you will be. It's a privilege to be working in this industry.
In the build-up to the season's climax, Kenny answers your questions.
I've met him many times in the year and a half that I've been at the club, and he was a fantastic man.
From players to promotion hopes, it's your chance to question the head coach.
I feel now at 21 he's right for a permanent home.
Wolves Fans Forum with Kenny Jackett in the Jack Hayward Suite, Molineux, Tuesday night from 6:30.
If we play as well as that, both home and away, things will turn for us.
For ticket information, log on to bbc.co.uk/WM.
03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Talking about Frozen, which of course is one of the great... How is Frozen not up for an Oscar? He said, not knowing anything about the Oscars, and maybe Frozen is up for an Oscar. How is Frozen and the Lego Movie, maybe, but they should be up for Oscars. They should sweep the boards. There's a family in the newspaper here. A family claim they are Britain's biggest Frozen fans after watching the film 500 times. Is that all? Is that all? We've seen it 500 times this month in my house. Mum, Lee Dryden, and sons Owen 4, Corey 2 and Jay 1 are obsessed with the Disney movie. You can't be obsessed with a movie at the age of 1. You can't even... I don't remember. Can they open their eyes at the age of 1? Which features smash hit song Let It Go. Lee, 26 from Middlesbrough, said, I have never got tired of the movie yet. It's a great film... The boys at home are obsessed with Madagascar at the moment. They love the Madagascar films. We went and saw The Penguins. Now, there's a film. The Penguins of Madagascar. That is brilliant. It features the best chase sequence I've ever seen in a film in my life. And it's a cartoon about penguins. The chase scene through Venice is flipping awesome. It's brilliant, Dave.
Is it?
Now, there's a film that I would go and see on my own. The Penguins of Madagascar is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, well, that sums it all up, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know, Dave. What?
People were saying you were a big kid.
Well, exactly. I just wouldn't go and see Paddington on my own. That's a bit weird. But The Penguins of Madagascar, wait till that comes out on DVD, boys. You're not touching it. That's Daddy's movie.
About this... chap in the cinema.
You're right, Dave. You sound really old today.
I am old.
Oh, well, that will explain it. Go on. Yeah, the fella in the cinema...
You'll know when you get to my age.
But, mate, I'm getting there quicker than I'd like to. I'm feeling it already, trust me. This is the fella, let's get his name right. It's Richard Bridger, 31, muscular dystrophy. He got booted out of the cinema because 6 people complained about the noise of his ventilator.
Well, my mate's mum's got one. And believe you me, they're not as loud as the film. They're not as loud as the film.
I think, because I have heard noisy ventilators. I think there might be different ones for different things, because some of them have got a bit of a kick to them.
Yeah, well, they could have asked him to move up the back, couldn't they? Or asked them other people to move.
So we should put the disabled people at the back.
Well, no, ask the other people to move. They should have come to some arrangement and not kicked the chap out.
But if 6 people complained, Dave, that would imply that there was a genuine problem going on.
Yeah, but were the 6 people together? One could have complained and they could have all backed the one up, couldn't they?
Hey, here we go. Look, this is nice, Dave. You know, we were just talking to who was it? What was the name of the fellow we were talking to? Was it Simon?
Simon.
It was Simon, right? Who wanted to go and see Paddington.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to go on his own.
Yeah.
He's just texted us.
Yeah.
Having been on your... see, our show brings people together.
Mm.
We're like Surprise, Surprise, or Jim... no, we're like Surprise, Surprise. Having been on your show, I've just had an offer from someone to go with me to see Paddington. But it might look a bit weird, it's my mate. Simon, go with your mate. Go on, go and enjoy Paddington, although it would look odd.
Nothing wrong with Paddington.
No, there's nothing wrong with Paddington. The film itself is good. But, Dave, listen, if you've paid 10, 15 quid to go to the pictures and there is someone sat there and the noise is disturbing you, well, then don't you have a right to say something?
Well, personally, I'd move first. And if I still heard it, then I would say something.
Because most cinemas these days, the screens are tiny. They've got maybe 60 seats in. So there's not really that many places you could move to.
Well, you know, they ain't very thoughtful, are they? You know, you've got to think of it both ways. You've got to think of the chap who had the ventilator as well, really, haven't you?
Dave, thank you very much. Let's go to Gary Moore. Flipping it. Gary, turn your radio off. Done.
Hello, Ian.
Blimey, O'Reilly. Morning, Gary.
Sorry?
Good morning, Gary.
Hello?
Gary?
Yeah, hello, I'm here, yeah.
OK, good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
Well, what would you like to say, Gary?
Well, when you mentioned about going into the cinema on an afternoon...
Yes.
And you've got the run of the place, you know.
Yeah.
How would you feel... Right, say if you was watching the film, you got all comfortable, and it was some gory adult film, you know, thriller, or I don't know.
Thriller, yeah.
Yeah, well, how would you feel if half a dozen people come in with newborns and disturbed you whilst you
they
watching
wouldn't.
the film?
Here's the thing. The film. I'm assuming that the film I'm watching is an 18, an X-rating.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
They
yeah.
wouldn't be allowed to bring babies in because they're underage.
No, it's down to the cinema's discretion.
They would not be allowed to bring babies in because they're underage. That's the rule.
No.
Yes.
No, it's down to the cinema.
Yes.
It's the cinema's discretion. The rating of the film doesn't matter.
Yes.
According to...
Well, I would say to those mothers that they were. It was inappropriate for them to come and watch Thriller with me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's everyone. But it's a time for when they can go and watch a film because the film doesn't mean nothing to the newborn. At
what age do you stop watching violent programmes and films in front of your kids? Because I remember my eldest, being about 9 months, and I was watching 24, and I suddenly thought, actually, he might be aware of what's going on here.
Well, yeah, where do you say that? What age do you say that, whether they can determine...
What's the cut-off?
They can understand.
But they have special screenings for parents and babies. So,
No, but they're saying that time of day...
Yep. I'm going to have a Rolo while you're talking to me.
Oh, OK. It's good enough because it's quiet.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
But a screaming baby... If there were screaming babies, then you would have every right to complain because you're not... that screaming could be controlled by the parent not being there. But if you've got a disabled fella who's huffing and a puff, are you saying, Gary, let's cut to the meat and indeed the two veg, are you saying you would complain about the fella with the ventilator?
You're complaining about the noise, not the fella and his disability.
But it's the fella with the ventilator who is making the noise, involuntary or otherwise.
No, it's the ventilator what's making the noise.
So you're not complaining about the bloke in the wheelchair, you're complaining about the ventilator.
The noise itself.
So you're complaining about the machine that's keeping him alive.
You're not the person who's disabled.
You could ask him to turn it off, I suppose, couldn't you?
Well, if there was enough places for you to move, then you could move yourself. I mean, you're not putting yourself out, are you, really?
Hey, Gary, maybe they should have special disabled screenings.
Yeah, can I ask you something? No, that's ridiculous. Can I ask you something else as well? You know when you get to watch a film with children?
Yes.
And you're paying for the seat, aren't you, whether you're a child or an adult?
Yes.
So then, why are you paying an adult's price.
For the children?
Children's film. No, you pay.
Well, because you're an adult. Because you're an adult.
Yeah, but you're only sitting in a seat, aren't
yeah,
you?
but you're in
child's film.
No, but this way, the way cinemas work is they have several prices, but the adults have one price and the children have another price.
Yeah, but it's a child's film.
Yeah, I know. But I'm an adult.
You pay the same.
But you're not paying for the film. You're paying for the person.
Seat.
No, you're paying for the
seat.
No, you're paying for the ticket for the person.
Yeah, you're paying to sit in a seat, aren't you, to watch a film?
That's how cinemas work. Yes. Well, I think we sorted that one out, didn't we, Gary?
Okay.
Excellent stuff.
Middleton, Mile Oak, Moseley, Oldbury, Pattingham.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM
95.6.
03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. There's a great story in the Mirror. Where is this? It's about a kid that lied. I love a good lie, right? And this one is wonderful. Oh, no, where is it? Where's he gone? Oh, no, it's in the Daily Mail. Where's the Mail? Got my papers all over the place here. This kid lied. You always get these stories, don't you? You get these stories about people that die and they see God and they see heaven and they see their nana and they see their... And then they come... It's not your time. It's not your time. And then they come back and they I saw a white light. And I saw heaven. You get all those stories, don't you, from people? So, well, there's this kid. Where is he? It's page 11. After waking from 2 months in a coma, schoolboy Alex Malarkey penned a moving tale of dying and going to heaven. He described how he was lifted by an angel before meeting Jesus and Satan in a book that became a bestseller. Now the American 16-year-old has left fans devastated after admitting he made it all up. He made it all up! Of course he did, because it doesn't happen. He says he concocted the tale in a bid for attention and criticised publishers who continue to make profits from the book. Alex, from Ohio, co-wrote The Boy Who Came Back from Heaven with His Father in 2010 after his coma following a car crash. Why would you need to lie? That's an amazing story anyway, isn't it? Kid's in a car crash, goes in a coma and comes out the other side. That's a story. You don't need to add any other ingredients to it. That's a pretty good story as it is. He admitted on the Pulpit and Pen website, I wonder what their background is. I did not die. I did not go to heaven. Christian publisher Tyndale House said the book was being withdrawn from sale. I never believe any of these stories of... there's a guy... Oh, no, I've said this. I'll get an email from this guy who emails me constantly about this. These stories of people who die... and then, and I went to heaven and there was a great light, but then I came back to life. It's all nonsense, isn't it? Fair play to this kid for coming out and saying, do you know what, I made it all up. Why would you need to embellish that story? That's a great story. You have a car crash, you go in a coma, you come out the other side. That's a story, isn't it? To make up meeting Jesus and Satan... 03453 009956 is the telephone number. So what have we touched on today on this rather disjointed, I think we could say, show? Is there something going on in Birmingham today? Are they giving away free £5 notes? Is that what's happening? It would explain a lot. So we've talked about going to the cinema on your own. We've talked about Paddington. We've talked about the possibility of George from Rainbow possibly being gay. And we've talked about a load of old nonsense, really. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to 03453 009956. You can text as well, 81333. Start your text WM. And if you want to send an email, well, you're more than welcome to. Iain.lee, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk. Coming up, hey, they might be bringing back Lovejoy. Hey, a bit of Lovejoy. And Britain's oldest woman is calling in now. Doreen. No. Britain's oldest woman died at the age of 114. But would you really want to live that long? I'm 41. I wouldn't mind another 30 years and then I'm done, I think.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock. Let's get the news. Here's Nicole.
The West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner David Jamieson says the force is reviewing its protection of the Jewish community here in the wake of the attacks in France.
There are those in the Jewish community nationally, and there are a substantial number of Jews in the West Midlands as well. We are looking at the security of them and their safety. And of course there is the safety and security of those in the Muslim community, because they too, at the present moment, are under some threat.
Anthony Glees is an expert on security from the University of Buckingham.
Jews are a soft target. They represent one of the core resentments that fire Islamism, namely the Israel-Palestine dispute. And Islamists somehow feel justified in going for Jews and thereby terrorizing the Jewish community. But the point is, the bottom line is, it's not just Jews they're after, it's everybody who isn't an Islamist.
In other news, a man has died after hitting a man and crashing into a tree in Wolverhampton. The man's believed to be in his 70s, was driving a Citroën which was involved in a crash with a Peugeot in Stafford Road in Oxley. The Peugeot driver got out to talk to him, but he apparently kept moving, hitting the man and finally stopping when his car crashed into the tree. Police say the circumstances of the incident are very confusing. They're asking anyone who saw it to contact them. Football fans will pay tribute later to former Wolves chairman and owner Sir Jack Hayward, who died on Tuesday. The game against Blackpool is a complete sellout in order for supporters to say a fitting and final goodbye. Albert Bates, chairman of the Wolverhampton Wanderers Official Supporters Club, says Sir Jack will be sadly missed.
He was a fantastic, very warm person. Loved Wolverhampton, loved where he grew up, and fell in love with Wolves at a very early age. He will be seriously, very sadly lost, a big loss to both the city of Wolverhampton and, of course, Molineux.
The leader of Birmingham City Council says the NEC group wasn't sold off too cheaply. The group, which includes the NEC and the International Convention Centre, was sold for £307 million to LDC, which is part of the Lloyds Banking Group. Some critics say with further investment, the council could have got more for it. The weather, a bright but very cold day today, and some snow is possible at times. The top temperature only 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. Tonight we'll have a widespread and severe frost, with temperatures going right down to minus 6 Celsius, 21 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow, staying dry but still very cold despite a fair amount of sunshine. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, this is Iain Lee. BBC WM 95.6. You can give us a call about any of the stuff we're talking about, or, let's be honest, anything at all. It's a weird kind of Saturday. I think we're all a little bit nervous about the prospect of snow. I like a bit of snow, but I like it snowing when I am at home. I like to be stranded in my house. So, how do I stop my kids saying, oh my God? Can you reprogram children? Stinky cupboards. Going to the cinema. Paddington. Oh, and what would you do? You're in a cinema, there's someone with one of those noisy ventilator machines. You know, the ones that help you breathe. Would you complain? 6 people complained in the cinema and got a bloke with muscular dystrophy kicked out. I can kind of see both sides of the argument. 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
009956.
BBC WM
95.6.
Morning, Doreen.
Morning.
What have you got for us?
Well, you said about in the distractions in the cinema or the theatre.
Oh, yeah.
When I went to the theatre, there's a lad next to me, be about 15, 17, forever keep opening his mobile phone. It was the light that was distracting.
Oh.
Playing on the phone. Then he'd shut it up. Then he'd open it again. I could have took the phone off with him.
Did you not have a word with him? Because I would have spoken to him.
You know, do you want a row in the cinema? You know, I did feel like saying something.
I think, Doreen, most people in those situations, when they are confronted, are so embarrassed that they stop doing it.
Well, I can't understand why his parents didn't say anything to him.
Because they're bad parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Again, Paddington, there was a fella, the woman sat next to my boy. This was the couple that were there on their own, weirdos. And they had their phone open, and they had their phone on right until the film started. And I was steeling myself up to say,
"Are you going to play that? That all through the..."
Could you turn that off? Yeah. And then they did turn it off. But I would have no problem at all.
Mind you, I do like some kids' film. I love Mary Poppins. I do.
Mary Poppins. Do you know what? I only saw Mary Poppins for the first time last year.
I think it's fascinating.
Mary Poppins is good. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is too long.
Yeah.
That's too long, that film.
Yes, it is, but I could watch Mary Poppins over again.
Mary Poppins is wonderful.
Mind you, the music and the dancing's very good as well in that.
But what the thing is, right, what on earth were people thinking with Dick Van Dyke's accent in that?
I don't know.
What, surely it was Hollywood, right? Surely, and I love Dick Van Dyke. I think he's brilliant. Diagnosis Murder. Oh, I could watch that till the cows come home.
I mean, he's dancing. He's brilliant.
Oh, his dancing is brilliant, and everything about him is brilliant.
Yeah.
Except for that stupid voice.
Well, it's supposed to be in a Cockney, wasn't it?
Well, it's supposed to be, but it's even he's admitted it's embarrassing. Was it Mary? No, it was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where Dick Van Dyke went missing for 3 weeks. This is true, because he was a massive boozer, Dick Van Dyke. Massive boozer.
There's a lot of them in the film industry.
There's a lot of them in the film industry. He was a massive boozer. He went missing for 3... I'm sure I've got this right. He went missing for 3 weeks, and they found him drunk under London Bridge.
Yeah. Do you know what? I knew somebody that worked... Well, I met somebody on holiday years ago, and their brother worked in the film industry.
Oh, yeah.
And she said they're either homosexual...
Yeah, well, gosh.
Drunkards, or they're Jewish. That's what she said to start with.
Wowzers. There we go. Thanks so much for that, Doreen. Wowzers. The corrupt movie industry populated by homosexuals, Jews and drunks, according to Doreen there. Hey, there was a thing out, and I'm not saying that Doreen was this at all, but there was a survey out that says that over half of us are anti-Semitic. Did you see that? Was that in the week? Half of us are anti-Semitic. But then you look at the figures, and I couldn't quite work it out. And it was something like, and I know producer Jo is tapping away furiously to find the figures because she's good like that. Something like 1 in 10 think the media industry is run by Jewish people. 1 in 6 think that Jewish people are tight with money, stuff like that. And somehow they'd managed to get the figure that half of us are anti-Semitic. Are you allowed... this is going to get me in trouble. Is this going to get me in trouble? Are you allowed to... No, it's not going to get me in trouble. Are you allowed to criticise Jewish people without being branded anti-Semitic? It quite often seems that if you were to criticise any kind of ethnicity...
Jewish people?
Well, no, because if you criticise any ethnicity, that instantly... is the race card being played is the thing that if you were to... that is often said.
But by criticising, isn't that...
No.
Well,
no. Why would it be?
Because you can... I think it's one thing to say something about an individual...
Yes.
But to say something about a whole ethnicity of people...
No, not a whole ethnicity, but you can say, OK, let me think how I would phrase this. Hey, bear with me, John.
Yep, OK.
I'm trying to phrase something in my head. My head isn't functioning particularly well today, and boy, oh boy, I can't wait for Daz Hale to take over at midday. And if Daz is around and wants to come in early, I will happily slip him 20 quid. He's more than welcome to come and take over this car crash. John, what have you called in about?
Yeah, it's just a quick courtesy call, really, because I'm on my way to work.
Quick courtesy call? Ooh,
there you go.
Yeah.
I heard the comments caller regarding a kid playing with his mobile phone in the theatre.
Oh, yes.
Now, I'm under the impression that they are banned because of the piracy laws in theatres.
Well, I mean, they say you don't take any pictures or anything, but I don't think that they're going to chuck you in prison or chop your hand off.
I wouldn't have thought that.
If you have a mobile phone.
But then again, out of pure courtesy.
Well, that's it. It's just manners, isn't it?
Of course
it's just manners. If you're in a place of entertainment, then turn your flipping... Hey, listen, maybe if you're waiting to find out if, your nan has come out of her operation alive, or if your dad has come back from the Gulf... sure, keep it on silent, but...
Yes, of course, yeah, but when you're just messing about on Facebook or something like that, it's pure rudeness. Some people, well, a majority of people cannot live their lives without their mobile phones, and what a sad state of affairs that is.
I don't think I could live my life without my mobile phone, and that is sad.
But you don't let it rule your life, do you?
Well, maybe in some ways. I do.
Such as sitting in a cinema.
No, I wouldn't do that. What you get is I've had my friends do this. They tweet that they're in the cinema. Or they update their Facebook status. I'm watching Taken 3 and it's flipping good. Well, watch the film. There was a thing in the papers this week that we spend far too much time recording what we're doing, i.e. taking pictures and video on mobile phones, instead of enjoying what we're doing and remembering it in our brains.
Well, then we go full circle to what I just said earlier. We let them rule our lives.
Man alive, do you know what? If the government said, do you know what we're going to do? We are going to shut down all of the mobile phone networks and nobody will be able to use a mobile phone, my first reaction would be fury, and then I'd think, actually, yeah, fair play, bring it on. Do you remember, John, when if you were arranging to meet someone, you sound of a vintage like I am, if you were arranging to meet, if I was going to meet you outside the cinema at 8 o'clock, well then... Yeah. And those plans changed. There was no way of finding out. You just have to wait outside the cinema.
Exactly, yeah. And any time you wanted to make a phone call, you had to find a phone box.
You had to find a phone box. And if you were... Is John in? Yep. No, he's not. Can I leave a message for him? Oh, yeah, go on. What do you want? Just tell him Ian called and I'll see him next week.
Yep.
And that's what you had to do.
No, don't get me wrong. They have got their advantages. But the thing is, people let them rule their lives.
Yes.
And that is very, very sad.
John, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. Hey, there's someone listening to us in Australia. Why would you listen to this rubbish? Who's this from? PJ. Listening from Oz while driving my lad from the Gold Coast to Sydney. An 11-hour drive. Still got 5.5 hours to go. We'll be home around 2:30am. My son Robson is a Wolves fan. The weather is hot and humid, 35 degrees Celsius. And then he sent me a little... picture. Hey, look at that. Hey, look. Well, blimey, look. They're in a place called Wanderra. We're in Wanderra, mate. Nice to be somewhere hot. Who's this from? Johnny. After having a disabled child and knowing how hard it can be, I would never complain about that gent in the cinema. Some people just don't get it. As for films, Star Wars is the one for me. 102 times I've seen it. How do you count it? How do you count the number of times you've seen a film? I knew all the words from the final battle off by heart. That the Lord I got into girls as I got old. Thank the Lord I got into girls as I got older. I'm a house husband, so I'll be there on the day of release on my own for episode 7 in December. Do you know what? I've never liked the Star Wars films. I've seen... Star Wars always used to be on ITV on a Saturday about 5:45. I've seen The Empire Strikes Back once, the pictures. Never seen Return of the Jedi. I've seen the Ewok movie, Caravan of Courage. I'm kind of tempted, now that these new Star Wars... I'm kind of tempted to watch the... I don't want to watch the first 3, because they'll be rubbish. Who is this Jar Jar Binks you speak of? I'm kind of tempted to watch the original trilogy again. The thing about George Lucas and Star Wars... is he's always remaking them and re-editing them and remastering them and taking bits out. And what's the thing? You'll know, Johnny, if you're a Star Wars geek. Han shoots first. I always know if Star Wars is on television because my friend texts me saying Han shoots first. And basically they've re-edited the film to make what's his name? Not Dustin Hoffman. Who's the fella?
Harrison Ford.
Thank you. To make Harrison Ford seem less mercenary so that he gets fired at first in a battle. It's like in E.T., when they've got rid of all the guns and they've replaced them with torches. Well, you take the jeopardy out of it. It's like the cover of Abbey Road with the Beatles where they got rid of Paul McCartney's fag. And that picture, he's not holding a fag. He has to be holding a fag. It's one of the clues that he's dead. 03453 009956. Let's get the travel. Here's Liz.
Thank you, Ian. As you head around Harborne, there's still lane restrictions in place on Harborne Park Road both ways, between the High Street and Vivian Road, also the High Street itself, between Harborne Park Road and Station Road. It's all because of this unsafe building at a disused pub, so you can at least get down the road, but obviously with a bit of caution. We're getting word of problems on the A5 in Cannock. Watling Street is partially blocked because of a two-vehicle accident between the M6 toll and Churchbridge Island, Lodge Lane. Traffic appears to be coping okay, however. Your match day travel sees Walsall fans going off to Colchester for this afternoon's game. Motorway routes in that direction are looking clear so far. The M6, the M1 or the A14. If you want to use the A road to get across to the M11, that's all looking okay. And then the A120, that's looking fine. Blues fans going to Leeds, the A38 or the M42 towards the M1, both looking okay, as is the M1 itself. However, there are the roadworks to contend with, 28 to 31 on the M1. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel 08453 002288.
This year, the BBC is celebrating local producers with the BBC Food and Farming Awards.
What is your favourite food market?
What makes them so special?
The whole of the area and the community would be a much poorer place.
Which food market do you think deserves to represent the West Midlands in this year's Food and Farming Awards?
Through the awards, the market has been put on the map.
Nominations are now open. Log on to bbc.co.uk/food awards and tell us your favourite.
BBC WM 95.6.
So Britain's last Victorian and the nation's oldest person has died at the age of 114. I mean, God rest her soul. Who would want to live that long? I mean, really? What can you do past the age of 75? That's it, isn't it? You're just sat at home watching Cash in the Attic and Jeremy Kyle, aren't you? Prove me wrong. 03453 009956. Ethel Lang lived through 6 monarchs and 22 prime ministers while remaining in her hometown all her life. The miner's daughter passed away at a nursing home yesterday. She'd lived independently at home up to the age of 105. I just think I'm bored at the age of 41. I feel like I've done... Kevin, I'm bored at the age of 41. Hello? Shoot me now. Kevin? Kevin? What the flippin' heck's going on? Is there a pill I can take? Either up or down, I don't mind. Ethel was born on May the 27th, 1900 in Barnsley, South Yorkshire. I'm sorry to hear that. The youngest of 6 girls to Charles and Sarah Lancaster. Queen Victoria was on the throne, and who was the Prime Minister? Who was the Prime Minister? Robert Gascoigne Cecil. I've never even heard of that. Kevin, I've never even heard of that. Kevin?
Yes, hi.
Yeah, you're there, Kevin.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, it's just a quick call, Ian.
Yes, Kevin.
I could have sworn you said Paul McCartney was dead.
Yeah, Paul McCartney died.
When's that?
1968. No, 1966. He died in a car crash and was replaced by a Scottish actor. I thought everyone knew that. Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin, are you on the phone or are you sending this message to me psychically?
No, I'm on the phone, but I'm on a hands-free because I'm on the motorway.
Well, good for you and bad for us. Yeah, he famously died in 1966.
Okay, so who's this guy impersonating since then?
Well, there's apparently... have you not heard this? This is a rumour that went around in the 60s. Hey, don't do drugs, kids. That Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966 and he was replaced by a Scottish actor whose name I can't remember. It was something Campbell. And that's why Paul McCartney from 66 onwards looked different, sounded different, and his songs weren't as good.
I see, OK. Well, listen, Ian, it's been lovely to talk to you, and you keep taking the pills, OK?
Boy, oh boy, I wish I had a stash here right now, Kevin. It's one of the Rock's greatest conspiracy theories. And it was big for a long time, honestly. All the heads in the late 60s, not all of them, a significant number. There are loads of clues, aren't there, that McCartney's dead. Let me try and... at the end of... what is it? The end of Strawberry Fields, if you play it backwards, it's supposed to be John Lennon saying, I killed Paul, although it's not. It's him saying cranberry sauce. The fact that McCartney's smoking a fag on the cover of Abbey Road and George Harrison has got bare feet implies... There's loads of them. You don't see McCartney's face on the inside cover of Sgt. Pepper. There's loads of them, aren't there? 03453 009956. Ethel was born on May the 27th, 1900 in Barnsley, South Yorkshire. She left school at 13 to work in a shirt factory. In 1922, she married her plumber husband, William, and they had a daughter, Margaret. Then you listen to... You hear this bit, right? This is what her life was like. Her life. Ethel's main hobby was dancing, which she kept up until she was almost 100. They spelt almost wrong here. She never smoked, rarely touched alcohol, and was a keen cook. That sounds like a boring lifestyle. 114 would feel like 228. Ethel, who was widowed in 1988 when William died, became Britain's oldest person in 2013 when Londoner Grace Jones died at... When Londoner Grace Jones died at 113. She was thought to be the 8th oldest person in the world. Daughter, Margaret, 91, said she was a lovely mother. I've had her a very long time. I've been very lucky. She wasn't into modern food like pizza. She cooked with lard. Can you still get lard? I used to like eggs fried in lard. Oh, baby, baby, baby. You speak of my language. Can you still get lard, Teresa?
I think you can. I don't cook with lard, so I wouldn't know.
I think we should bring lard back. If it kept this woman alive to the age of 114, and I'm sure that must be the only thing, then we all need a bit more lard in our life.
I don't know, the GPs might complain.
It smelt nice lard when it was cooking, didn't it? Beautiful bit of lard. What have you got for us, Teresa?
It was about the cinemas.
Yeah.
I'm a carer myself. I've got a severely disabled son. And what cinemas do these days, and it's around the country now, is once a month, a lot of the cinemas have what they call as a relaxed performance.
Oh, I've heard of this. These are good. Go on.
Yeah, and it's where, because of the family, my son makes noises, so he's going, when he's in his wheelchair. And it's difficult when you go to the cinema to see the film normally.
Yeah.
Obviously, people would complain. We've grown up with him, so we sort of tend to ignore it. But obviously, other people would get a bit annoyed with that.
Yeah, of course.
So the cinemas once a month do a session where we can go along, and it's all families with disabled children, disabled young people. There are children who have autistic tendencies, make noise, have tendency to walk around. Because we understand that kind of thing, this session that's put on for us is fantastic. And we don't mind.
And Teresa, am I right in thinking that they kind of keep the lights up a little bit and the volume down a little bit so that you know, people aren't disturbed or anything? You know, it doesn't scare the kids.
Yeah, that's right. And there are no adverts either.
Oh, it's worth it for that on itself.
Well, you can try. Well, you can go into the chair if you like.
Well, that must be really good for you, because I can imagine it can be. And here's the thing: I have I used to have a friend. I don't really see her anymore. Whose sister was severely disabled, and she had taken her to see a play and see films, and people had come up and said, "Can you shut her up? Can you get her to shut up?" And it sounds outrageous, but then again, if you spend a lot of money on a ticket, you kind of want to enjoy the experience, don't you?
That's right, but at the same time, we can't get out of the house. We can't get to see the same things as other people. So it's brilliant that this has come along. And I think one of the charities involved is a charity called Dimensions.
Right.
And they sort of advertise these autistic and relaxed performances. So I think it's brilliant that it's come along. It's taken a bit of time because my son's 19 now. But, things do take a little bit of time for sort of disabled people. But it's great to be able to get out and see a film, because we get to see few films. We don't know what's been going on over the last 10 years.
What was the last film you went to see, Teresa?
Has
it been a while?
It's been a while. Probably Mary Poppins in the original.
Right, flipping heck, that was like 100 years ago.
Well, that's probably when, before I even got married.
Can you understand why 6 people complained about this fella's noisy ventilator?
I could understand, because sometimes if we're on our own, you can hear this noise going. It is irritating. But as a family, you get used to your children making noises, but then you can sort of see other people staring. I think if he knew maybe sort of he makes noises, maybe he could have asked about this rap performance, or somebody could have suggested it to him. I think the cinemas need to advertise this more widely. Maybe pick a really big poster and say, on Sundays, once a month, there's this relaxed performance. If you need to walk around, some children even need their mobile to play games to distract them sometimes, because maybe there's too much noise as well still going on, but they can still stay in the performance.
Teresa, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'd heard of that before, and I think it's cracking. They do it with plays as well, and pantomimes and things like that, where they make it so you can go and... if your kids are a bit noisy because they are disabled in some way, or have learning difficulties or something like that, then it's kind of, encouraged is probably the wrong word. But it happens. 114, her secret to living so long was living so well. She wasn't into modern food like pizza, she cooked with lard. Now, I said, kind of 75, beyond that, what's the point? Darren is furious with me. I'm interpreting your words as fury, Darren, on Twitter. 03453 009956, if you want to call. My lovely mother-in-law is 86. Last year she went to Lord's Cricket Ground for a tour. Ay. We was on the London Underground and she could get around to the London Underground quicker than me. Utter rubbish about no life after 75. Why would you want to go to Lord's Cricket Ground for a tour? I was saying this yesterday. Cricket is one of those things. I don't get many sports. I like a bit of darts. I like a bit of snooker. Proper sports, working class sports, proper sports. But any sport that stops for sandwiches or is played over 3 days, well, that's not a sport, is it? That's a hobby. That's a posh hobby, surely. Margaret said her mum went blind at 85, but still enjoyed listening to the snooker on the radio. She added she loved the snooker and she loved Jimmy White. She was always backing him. Now, this is where I start to get a little bit suspicious. This woman died at 114. Britain's oldest person is now Gladys Hooper on the Isle of Wight. Oh, right. Who turns 112 on Sunday. Oh, right. Has Ms. White been questioned about this? Has she? Do we know her whereabouts at the time of Ethel's death? Has anybody investigated this? The oldest person in the world is a Japanese woman called Misao Akawa, who's 116. I mean, seriously, there would be a point where you would think, do you know what? This is just too old, isn't it? This is just too old. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. There are rumours... I'll just keep talking, I'm not bothered. I'm holding that off. That's because I don't want to go to it now. No, I'm not doing that. Tele-crime show Lovejoy could be making a comeback. Was Lovejoy a crime show? I don't remember it being a crime show. He was what?
He was a detective, wasn't he? He was an antique dealer.
He was an antique dealer?
Yeah, but then...
Did he solve crimes as well?
Yes.
I never used to watch it. I used to like Spender.
Yeah.
I was in Spender.
Were you?
Yeah.
What were you?
I was a cop in Spender.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was actually. You couldn't see me, but I got paid for it, so that counts. He solved crime. Who was it? There was Tinker. Tinker was in it.
Yeah, he was the old man, wasn't he?
He was the old man, and then who was the young lad? Not Sammy the Chamois. That was Neil Morrissey in Noel's House Party. No, I didn't watch it. Tele-crime show Lovejoy could be making a comeback after 21 years with top writer Tony Jordan working on a new series. Jordan, creator of BBC One hits Hustle and Life on Mars. I've seen neither of those things. Here's the thing about British drama. It's rubbish, isn't it?
No, it's good.
Name one good one.
Hustle was good. The first series of Hustle was brilliant.
Did it get silly at the end?
Yeah, The Fall is amazing.
It's got Jennifer Aniston, not Jennifer Aniston, Skolder, Mully.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson.
She's in it.
It's amazing.
Makes it American.
No, it's not. She's English.
She's not English.
She is English.
Yeah, by only through technicalities.
She's English.
She's an American.
She's English.
She's American.
Have you watched The Fall?
She does an English accent.
Yeah, she's English.
No, but she's American.
No, I'm not. She is English.
Well, hang on. How is watching The Fall... Look, Kev's calling in. Kev will know. How is watching... Look at you going on the internet. I wouldn't... It's only going to end in tears. Your tears. Anderson is an American, right? Because have you seen The X-Files? If that's your... I look forward to the apology. Jordan, creator of BBC One hits Hustle and Life on Mars.
Oh, she's American.
Of course she's American.
Hang on.
No, your microphone's been switched off. Go on.
Her family moved to...
Don't matter.
She has English, German and Irish ancestry.
Yeah, I know she does.
Her family moved to the UK.
They all do
where
over
she
there.
lived until she was 11 years old.
She's an American, yeah? That was the argument. They've all got English, Scottish, Italian, German ancestry. They're Americans. The country's only 50 years old. Kev.
Yeah, it's King's Eve, Kev. What's with all the Kevs this morning?
There's a lot.
Me up out of bed
There's a lot of Kevs. Hey, isn't English, British drama rubbish?
No, not all of it. Some of it is. I think the station you're working for at the moment do some fine programmes.
What, BBC WM 95.6?
No, the BBC.
Okay.
Well, the BBC WM 95.6 across West Midlands and the Black Country.
Hey, look at you! You know the taglines better than I do. I've never got that one right yet.
Just a stab in the dark. They have some good drama with Danny Kelly. Is that the one?
Danny Kelly. That name rings a bell.
Yeah, but big, bald, fat, ugly bloke.
I couldn't possibly comment on that.
I think
Kevin.
anyway. I've never.
What you got for us, Kev?
There was a couple. I think that lady you were on about, Mullion Scott. I always thought she was American, but I think she's English.
No, she's not. We've just proved.
You just proved that
by using God's gift to the.
She does a good English accent.
She does a very good English accent, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. Better than that fellow in Mary Poppins.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke. I love Dick Van Dyke.
Governor, how are you?
Exactly. You see, can you do an American accent, Kev?
I sure can.
Go on then.
Where would you like it from? New York, New Jersey, what exit? What do you want with this American accent thing?
Now suddenly you've gone all Woody Allen on me.
Yeah, well, Woody. Hey, what's wrong with Woody?
What? I love the line. What exit do you want?
No, I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, what exit?
I'm from New Jersey, the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx.
From New Jersey.
I'm gonna come over there and kick you right in the ass.
That's it. I couldn't say ass on the BBC.
You can't say it on the BBC. We'll cut you up. I'm going to come over there and I'm going to start you up from New Jersey.
They would cut me off at the knees.
Hey, you're good, man. You obviously watch Goodfellas, a lot of gangster movies.
Sopranos. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Tony.
Hey, Tony.
It's Tony with a D.
Hey,
Tony.
Tony, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to teach you a lesson, Tony.
We got to talk about that thing, Tony, not the thing, the other thing.
Tony,
you know
let's talk about the thing, Tony. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Boy, we are so desperate for content. That you and I...
Hey, listen, I was just... If you live to be 100 and whatever...
Yeah.
It just kind of occurs to me, don't all your friends sort of die off and you have to be making new friends?
This would be the thing. You would be very, very lonely, wouldn't you, at the age of 114?
Well, it's just weird, isn't it? Would you want to live forever? Because you have to keep making new friends all the time. And I would imagine all that ladies' friends that she went to school with and worked with and knew, and that they must be gone now. And
what surprised me about this is I listened to this on the radio yesterday, and they cut to an interview with her daughter, who's 91.
Yeah, I know when that came on the telly. I thought, and her daughter, and I thought,
yeah, that was lucky, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would be right. Yeah, 91, I suppose.
It kind of makes sense.
You're kind of thinking her daughter being her 50s or 60s, and a lady come on. I thought, that's right, she would be.
I don't want to get that old, Kev.
Well, you say that. That was the other thing. You're in your 40s, and you're thinking, well, I'll give me another 30 years. Let me tell you something. The closer you get to that 71 mark, you'll be thinking, oh, hang on. It ain't so bad after all, is it?
You reckon? How old are you, Kev?
How old do I sound? If I'm not talking like this...
56.
Well, thanks for that.
Oh, how old are you then? 63?
53.
53?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. It was a sarcastic thanks.
I always think 80, but I'm thinking that's that's 30 years from now.
Yeah.
What did I do in my first 30 years? And I'm thinking,
I wasted the first 30 years, and indeed I was wasted for the first 30 years. What a waste of time that was.
No, I made the most of the best I could with it, yeah.
Aren't we? Look, we're getting maudlin now, Kev, so it's time to move on. No, it's time to move on and bring in Brian. Morning, Brian.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
You're on about people annoying you in cinemas.
Yeah, go on.
I remember as a young lad, I was 16 years of age, and I was sat in the Alhambra cinema on the Moseley Road, which is closed down a few years now.
Yep.
And there was these two young women sat behind me and my mate, and all the way through, I always remember, was watching Beckett.
Oh, yeah.
And all the way through, we kept being bombarded with peanuts and crisps and popcorn by these two young ladies behind us. Really annoying. Anyway, she's still annoying me.
Blimey.
And we've been together now 51 years.
Hey, hang on a minute. So how did you get together with her? Did you turn around and say, would you shush
Well,
your
I tried
mate?
to ignore it at the time, but I met her about a year later.
How did you know it was her?
Because we mentioned the film Beckett, and she remembered that she was the young lady that was throwing things at me.
Flipping
at that
heck.
time.
Isn't that
And
weird?
she's still annoying me. We're still together. We've been together now 51 years.
Does she do that thing in films that my wife does?
What's that?
Where, why is that? Why are they trying to kill that man? Who's now? Is that the good guy or the bad guy? Just watch the film.
Oh, see what I mean about annoying?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
What did she say?
See what I mean about how annoying is that? Yeah, I'm going to put her on.
Please do, Brian. Please.
He keeps trying to guess who's done the murder, guess who's done this, and it's only just started the film.
Why? What's your name, my love?
Doreen.
Doreen. Why? Oh, hello, Doreen. Why were you chucking stuff at him in the cinema?
Well, I couldn't get a boyfriend. I was so ugly, so I waited till I was in the dark.
Oh, bless you.
In the cinema. And I thought, this is my chance. If I throw food at him, he's a bit hungry.
He looks
might
hungry,
eat the-
yeah.
You never know what I mean?
Well, Doreen, can I speak honestly with you?
Yeah.
You could have done so much better.
No, he's gorgeous.
You really?
Oh, you want to see me. And
Is he a bit of a hunk?
Well, he's younger than me, you see.
Oh, you mucky pup.
He's 2 years younger than me.
You dirty, dirty woman, Doreen.
But I've enjoyed the 51 years.
All of it?
Oh, every second.
Oh, look at you. You're still totally in love with him.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
Flipping heck.
He's tall, broad shoulders, handsome,
Yeah.
brilliant sense of humour,
Yeah.
clean.
Good lover?
I don't know about that. No, don't go down that road, please.
Well, Doreen, it's so nice to hear you so much in love.
Yes, I've got a list, you see, of he's good and bad.
Yeah.
And the bad is about 2, and the good is about 102.
Well, isn't that fantastic?
There you go.
Well, Doreen, it's nice to talk to you.
And you,
Go
Ian.
and chuck some popcorn at him and recreate that old magic.
I think I'm the only person you've not insulted. I listen every Saturday, and you've let me speak without interrupting me.
Would you like me to insult you?
Go on there.
Doreen, you stink. Get lost.
Hello.
Bye-bye. She wanted it. It was a request. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a quick call.
Penn, Pensnet,
Rugeley, Redditch,
Rowley Regis.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM.
95.6.
Now, dear listener, 03453 009956. When do you know that you're gay? That came from nowhere, didn't it? Huh? Well, the first school in the country for gay and lesbian children could open in the next 3 years. It's certainly being discussed as a possibility. A charity has said that the idea has been sparked in a bid to save lives. Well, earlier on before the show, I spoke to director of the LGBT Youth Northwest Group, Amelia Lee, and asked her whether she was looking at opening a gay school.
What we've been given is some funding from the Department for Communities and Local Government to look at taking on our LGBT community centre. So it's part of a bigger programme across the UK of asset transfer. So people might know of some community-owned pubs, for example, that have been taken over by the local community, and some other community centres that have been taken on by local people. And this project is like that. We're looking at taking on the LGBT centre in Manchester, and we're doing lots of consultation with lots of people at the moment to find out what the needs are of the lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans population of Manchester, so that the LGBT centre can meet those needs.
And so this term school, is that a myth? Could one of the options be that this centre gets turned into a school?
We're looking at a variety of options. So it's possible that we will look at something like an alternative education provision.
What does that mean?
That's if you think of something like a pupil referral unit or some other specialist school providers like homeschooling organisations, for example. So what we would do is work in partnership with local schools, with pupil referral units, with parents, with teachers, with governors, and identify what that additional support is that young people need, and to make sure that we're part of providing that. It
sounds like, Amelia, you're trying to say everything you can that isn't the word school. Would kids be going there 5 days a week to learn? Potentially.
There's no way of us knowing that yet.
That's one of the options, though. That's one of the potential options.
I think it's a bit too early to say, because until we get a really clear picture of what young people want and how it will fit in with the partnership of schools and pupil referral units, we won't know. So it might be, for example, a pupil goes to school 4 days a week, or a pupil is homeschooled 4 days a week, and 1 day a week they come to the LGBT community centre. They work with our community allotment. They might work with our community cafe. They might also do some functional skills work and have a bit of support through talking to a youth worker. And all of that builds up their confidence and self-esteem, so that then they can be more integrated into mainstream society.
Why? I know. Listen, I've heard you on lots of things. So I know that you're aware of this argument. Why do we want to segregate gay kids? Because surely that makes the problem worse, doesn't it? On both sides.
We definitely are not in the game of segregation.
Well, you're taking them out of potentially taking them out of mainstream education so that they are educated with other LGBT children. So you are kind of separating them, aren't you?
I think the first thing to say is that our school would be inclusive, not exclusive. So what we would have as a policy is that we are open to all young people. That's of all genders, of all sexualities. So that makes us inclusive and not exclusive. I think the second thing to point out is a lot of these young people are not in mainstream school at the moment because mainstream schools for them haven't been the right place. And there are wonderful examples of amazing mainstream schools that we work with, lots of schools that we train across the Northwest. And there are other local providers in the Midlands, for example, places like the LGBT centres in Leicester and in Birmingham and various other places where a lot of that great work happens. Unfortunately, we know that not every mainstream school is inclusive. We know that homophobic bullying is still very prevalent across all schools.
Well, don't you need to get in there then and change the attitude of the kids in those schools who are homophobic, and indeed some of the teachers who kind of maybe turn a blind eye to it? Absolutely,
yes. And we train about 10,000 people in schools a year through Schools Out UK, our partner organisation. We train thousands more. There are other wonderful organisations going out there and delivering a lot of this work. And the Department for Education is currently funding a whole scheme of work around combating homophobic, biphobic and transphobic bullying. So that is our priority. We want to make all those mainstream schools inclusive of everybody.
You talk about this...
We're not there yet. And if we're not there yet, we can either wait and let 5%, 10% of pupils fail, or we can do something to support them.
You say that your centre, if it became a school or something like that, would be inclusive, but honestly, there aren't going to be any parents of straight children that are going to want their kids to go to an, in inverted commas, gay school, are there?
I think it depends on how it all pans out. It depends a little bit on what comes out of the consultations, but we do have other models to draw from. So I was on holiday last year in New York and I visited the Harvey Milk School, and that is a school that is LGBT inclusive. It's paid for by the Board of Education for New York, and they have a third of their students who are not lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans. So there's clear precedent there that is working.
Amelia, final question, and this is kind of a little side note. At what age do kids know they're gay?
That really depends on the young person. I think some people know from really early on that they feel different, and they might not have a word for that. And then as they grow older, then they might know. For a lot of transgendered young people, they know very early on, because as soon as you start getting segregated in nursery schools or primary schools even into boys and girls, if you think you're in the wrong line, then you realise pretty quick that something's up, you know. So people are all different. Some people realise when they're in their 60s. Some people realise from the get-go. They feel like they've popped out of the womb like that. So it's very different for everybody.
So that was recorded earlier on, and it does beg the question, what if you're gay, at what age did you think, oh, do you know what, I think I could be a little different to everybody else that's around? At what age do you know you're gay? I suppose the converse could be asked, at what age do you know you're heterosexual? I don't know. 03453 009956. Let's get the travel news. Here's Liz.
Thanks, Ian. As you make your way around Harborne, you still have these restrictions in place on Harborne Park Road, lane out in either direction between the High Street and Vivian Road, also on the High Street between Station Road and its junction with Harborne Park Road. It's all for safety reasons because of this unsafe building, this disused pub, and traffic is looking a little bit busy in the area as a result. There's also still revised services on bus routes in the area. The A5 Watling Street around Cannock is partially blocked because of a two-vehicle accident. This is at the junction with the M6 toll junction T7 and Walsall Road at Churchbridge Island. Traffic seems to be getting past it without too much of an issue. Slow going on Poke Lane and Blackheath both ways. There are some roadworks around there near to Holly Road. And as you head towards Dudley Road at Rotten Park in Birmingham, you'll find it's heavy going along the A457 towards the junction with Winson Green Road. There was a bit of congestion on the M42 going north between 4 and 5 towards Solihull. That's all been sorted out. Your matchday travel for Walsall fans going to Colchester, main routes all looking okay. The M6, the M1 or A14 if you cut across to the M11. Blues fans are off to Leeds. The A38 up to the M1 is looking okay. The M1 so as well, although there are the roadworks 28 to 31 to contend with. If you can update us, 08453 002288.
Every time there's a bit of snow, everything comes to a standstill.
The first train was cancelled or delayed, very busy.
Night and day with spreaders of salt.
Make BBC WM 95.6 your shortcut to fast and accurate information for snow forecasts, travel updates and school closures.
Lows of -1 Celsius, 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ice, snow, wind and rain. It's all coming in our direction.
Get the 5-day forecast online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The snow's coming. I say the snow's coming. Don't panic. I don't know if I'm stuck in a box. So is it snowing? Do we know? Is it snowing at the moment? Stuck in a box. We'll find out shortly as the Bernie is on the all-important coffee run. The front page of the Daily Express have got themselves excited over snow. 6 inches of snow warning. The thing is, the Express always put that. The front page of the Express is either a snow warning, a storm warning, or a cure for dementia by eating tomatoes. That's pretty much what it always is. 6 inches of... Is it snowing where you are? I flipping hope it's not. Got stuff to do. I've got to get to my boy's birthday party. I can't be stranded and miss that because of snow. There's always that... I always seem to get caught in as it is snowing and the snow gets really heavy while I'm in my car. And I always have to make that awful decision of, oh, man, I'm going to have to abandon the car. I'm going to have to abandon the car. The number of times I've abandoned the car. Why can nobody drive in the snow in this country as well? Everyone is an awful snow driver. Here's an idea. In the snow, slow down a bit, don't rev your engine, and don't drive up my backside. That's all you got to do. Everybody's panicking in the snow. Britain is facing 6 inches of snow this weekend, with wintry showers likely as far south as that there London. Oh, God, really? I can't be bothered with it. Please make it go away. Please make the snow go away. Temperatures will plummet below freezing across the whole country tonight as an Arctic blast roars in and is set to last for up to a fortnight. Bearing in mind this is in the Daily Express, so we might just get a little bit of sleet. That could be it. The biggest whiteout in years will see the mercury fall to -15 degrees in some areas. Met Office forecasters have issued severe weather warnings. Turn to page 5. Deary me. For snow and ice covering every mainland region over the next 2 days. A level 3 cold weather health alert. What does that mean? That sounds terrifying. Level 3? Warning of the danger to the very young, the elderly, and those who don't like the flipping cold. I might have to turn my heating on if that's the case. It may be the time to turn the heating on. Oh, dearie me. I am very, very tight. When it comes to the heating, put a jumper on, run around, or we can all snuggle up under a blanket and watch a film. The Met Office expects 6 inches of snow to fall over high ground in the north. That doesn't count. It always snows up north. What do they expect? They shouldn't live there if they don't want to get cold and miserable. But in Newcastle, you'll still get girls walking around in micro mini skirts. No one wears a coat in Newcastle. 03453 009956. Although I suspect we've probably had the last phone call for the show. I've just got a feeling. I've got a feeling in the next 70 minutes it's just going to be me and you. And that's fine. I can deal with that. Temperatures will drop widely. Forecasters say the dramatic change from unusually mild to bitterly cold weather will set the scene for the rest of the winter. And then get this, right? And I saw this yesterday, and I could not understand this. Experts from NASA, of all places, yesterday confirmed that last year was the hottest since records began in 1880. Are you sure? 2014 was miserable, wasn't it? There were some good bits. Here comes the coffee. Thank you, Bernie. Is it snowing outside?
Not quite.
Not quite. Oh, OK. Well, that's something for us all to look forward to. Last year was the hottest since records began in 18... You are having a laugh. It wasn't that hot. And here's the fun side of the snow. So you're all looking forward to it. You're all thinking, great, we can go outside and play with the kids. And it's fun to play with the kids in the snow for 15 minutes. And then it gets unpleasant and cold and awful. The cold snap could kill... one elderly person every 7 minutes, an expert warned last night. Age UK's charity director Caroline Abrahams said almost 1 million elderly people are in danger of dying because they cannot afford to heat their homes. And then one of the big... I always want to call them the EDL. They're not the energy company. The EDF? Eon. Anyway, one of the energy companies this week said, don't worry, guys. Because of the low oil prices, we are lowering our heating bills. Hey, that's great. How much are you lowering them by? On average, £23 a year. Flippin' heck. 23. What are you going to do with the extra 23 quid a year, Simon?
Say that again.
Sorry?
Say that again.
Oh, flippin' heck. What are you going to do with the extra £23 a year you save from your energy bills?
Something nice.
What would that be, Simon? Buying some new comics?
Yeah, something like that,
Get some nice comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I wanted to say about Jewish people.
Oh, flipping it.
And
here we go. Yeah, go on.
It's not really about racism, because in their religion, it does say that most of the wealth, anyone that's read the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament, it says that God's given the most of the wealth on the earth has been given to them because they're His chosen people.
Where does I don't know that? Could you? I don't know the Bible particularly well. It's been a long time since I've read the New Testament. Never read the Old Testament. So it's God's fault that some people assume that the Jewish people are tight with money. Is it?
Well, it says in the Bible that they're God's chosen people, and all the wealth on the earth has been bestowed to them.
But we know that's not we know that's not true, though, don't we?
According to the religion, it's true. It's not about.
But we know that's not true because it's an old, slightly offensive, incredibly offensive view to assume that Jewish people are good with money and tight with money. But that's not true, is it?
Well, I mean, my teacher at college said that someone close to her went to the capital, to London, to do a job.
Yes.
Involving looking after money.
Right.
And the person was a bit daunted about if they were going to be any good at it. And she said, no, you're lucky. They're giving you the job. They're Jewish. They've trusted you to look after their money.
Your teacher at college said this, did they?
Yep.
Wow, that's what a great education you must have got.
Well,
why? So you think? Do you? Okay, let's go through this step by step, Simon. And boy, oh boy, we're only indulging you because there ain't no one else. I suspect we might get some calls after this. So, do you think Jewish people are, first of all, better with money than other people?
I don't think it's in their DNA. If you put a Jewish person on in the North Pole from birth, they wouldn't be tight with money. But in their culture,
okay,
that's what.
So the Jewish culture, Simon, is tight with money.
It says everything that they have is given to them by God.
And let me guess, Simon. Black people are good at sports.
If something's in someone's DNA,
oh blimey,
it might be true. But if it's not, then you can't make a generalisation. What I'm saying is, Jewish people, it's not in their DNA to be tight with money, but it's in their religion to be tight with money or to look after their money.
Do you realise, Simon, just how ridiculous you sound?
I've just said to you the difference. Right. It's not about
So the answer to that question is no, you don't realise.
I've just said to you, it's not in their DNA, it's in their religion. It's not about being racist or anything like that.
No, so the question I asked was, do you realise how ridiculous you sound?
I don't sound ridiculous.
So the answer to that is no?
Everything I said is true.
Okay. And what other stereotypes do you hold towards the Jews? Do they run the
stereotype?
Well, it is.
I've just told you what's in the religion.
Do they run the media? What other? Do you think there was a Jewish conspiracy involved in 9/11? That's why some conspiracy theorists will think that so many Jewish people evacuated the buildings the day before, which is another myth.
90% of people who've won the Nobel Peace Prize, if this is a fact, have been Jewish.
And where did you get that fact from?
I can't remember exactly where I got it from, but it's true.
Well,
if you want to check it out, you can check
Joe,
it out.
can we check that? The percentage of people that have won the Nobel Peace Prize, 90% of them, apparently, according to Simon, the home of the fact, are Jewish. And if that were true, Simon, let's assume that is true, right?
Yeah.
So what? What does that tell you?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not making an...
No, but what does that tell you? Are you saying that Jewish people are more peaceful than other people, or that the voting system is rigged in favour of Jewish people?
Well, there's a lot of Jewish people who are in positions of power.
Yeah, so you think it's a corrupt voting system? Simon?
I'm not saying anything bad about Jewish people.
But you're making stuff up, aren't you?
No.
You are making nothing you've... Well, the figure you've just given me is inaccurate. It's not 90% of the Nobel Peace Prize.
The majority, though.
No, it's not.
Well, maybe the person that told me that was wrong, but...
Exactly, they were wrong. Shall I tell you the correct percentage as found out by my producer, Joe?
Okay.
The percentage of people who have won the Nobel Peace Prize who are Jewish is 22%.
Oh, okay.
So that completely rains on your parade, doesn't it?
Well, there's a lot of other things that...
Okay, Simon, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Joe. Ranjit!
Yeah.
Yeah, Ranjit comes to save the show. Morning, Ranj.
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm struggling, mate. I want to go home.
You want to go home?
Yes, please, boss. Do you want to do the last hour of the show for me?
I can, I can.
Good lad.
You've got confidence in me now, haven't you?
Well, the confidence is a very strong word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk about, like when people do strange things in strange places, yeah?
I'm slightly cautious. Ranjit, stay there because I've got to do some business. We'll come to you after the news. When people do strange things in strange places, man alive, that's a terrifying prospect. Fingers crossed it'll be decent. If you want to take part in the show, maybe you want to argue with Simon's ridiculous points, you're more than welcome to. 03453 009956. You can send me a text as well, 81333. Start your text WN, or you can email ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. IAIN.LEE@bbc.co.uk. What else have we got to talk about? Oh, the pub landlord is standing against Nigel Farage. Now, is that a bit of fun? Is it the equivalent of the monster raving loony party? Or is he making a mockery of the whole thing? We'll talk about snow, tiny willies, I know, don't worry. And there's another ridiculous tattoo on somebody in the newspapers. He's done it to win a free curry. Flippin' heck.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get the news now. Here's Nicole Pullman.
West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner David Jamieson says the force is reviewing its protection of the Jewish community following the terror attacks in Paris.
There are those in the Jewish community nationally, and there are a substantial number of Jews in the West Midlands as well. We are looking at the security of them and their safety. And, of course, there is the safety and security of those in the Muslim community, because they, too, at the present moment, are under some threat.
Anthony Glees is an expert on security at the University of Buckingham.
Jews are a soft target. They represent one of the core resentments that fire Islamism, namely the Israel-Palestine dispute. And Islamists somehow feel justified in going for Jews and thereby terrorising the Jewish community. But the point is, the bottom line is, it's not just Jews they're after, it's everybody who isn't an Islamist.
The Treasury says more than £1 billion worth of new pensioner bonds have been sold since they became available 2 days ago. The government-backed savings products offer people aged 65 and over a better interest rate than they can obtain in banks and building societies. Paul Lewis is from BBC Radio 4's Moneybox.
These are very, very good rates. Subsidised, I have to say, by taxpayers. It will cost the Treasury £325 million to pay these higher rates compared with the cost of borrowing the money elsewhere. There are £10 billion set aside. The Treasury says it expects them to be on sale for months before that runs out. It might not be months, but it certainly will be a few weeks.
Football fans will pay tribute later to former Wolves chairman and owner Sir Jack Hayward, who died on Tuesday at the age of 91. The game against Blackpool is a complete sellout, in order for supporters to say a fitting and final goodbye. Albert Bates, chairman of the Wolverhampton Wanderers Official Supporters Club, says Sir Jack will be sadly missed.
He was a fantastic, very warm person. Loved Wolverhampton, loved where he grew up, and fell in love with Wolves at a very early age. He will be seriously, very sadly lost, a big loss to both the city of Wolverhampton and, of course, Molineux.
The 50th anniversary today of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech will be marked in Birmingham tonight. Artists from across the city will come together to remember the life and legacy of the American civil rights leader. Community activist Desmond Jadu.
We've got about 25 acts appearing at the Studio Library Theatre in Centenary Square. And it's really to celebrate the achievements that Martin Luther King made during his lifetime.
A bright but cold day today. Some snow is possible at times. The temperature only 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. Tonight we'll have a widespread frost. It'll be severe, and the temperatures are going right down tonight to -6 Celsius, 21 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Afternoon, Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. Random show today. Let's have a little, what can I call it, recap. At what age do you know you're gay? Let's talk of a gay school starting for kids. But, I think it's wrong that the gay people would be segregated at that age. To protect them from bullying, well, that surely is only going to make the situation worse in some extent. Don't we need to promote integration for that kind of thing to work? 03453 009956. But when do you know you're gay? I mean, is it when puberty hits? Is it... How does that work? 03453 009956. We've also talked about a noisy man who got booted out of the cinema. Well, quite right, you might say, until you realise the noise was created by his ventilator. You know, the machine that keeps him alive. Now, my knee-jerk reaction is to think, oh, that's disgusting. 6 people complained and got this fella booted out. But then you kind of think about it. You think, well, you know, if you've taken a few friends, that's 40, 50 quid you've spent. And those ventilators can be very, very loud. Oh, yeah, and it's official. Jewish people are tight with money. That's according to Simon, who phoned up with his usual bland brand of nonsense. 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Simon's comments kind of tie in with this story that was in the paper in the week. Almost half of Britons hold anti-Semitic view, poll suggests. YouGov study surveys attitudes towards British Jews. OK? Nearly half of the British... Now, I don't quite know how they've got to nearly half of the British population with this. They've done a little bit of maths. And I don't understand maths. Nearly half of the British population agreed with one of 4 anti-Semitic statements presented to them according to a new poll, which found that 1 in 8 of those surveyed believed that Jewish people used the Holocaust as a means of gaining sympathy. It also found that 1 in 4 Britons believed that Jews chase money more than other British people, a figure which rose to 39% of those participants who identified themselves as UKIP voters. This is from The Guardian Online. It was in lots of papers. The research, the group also carried its own separate survey of British Jews, which found that 54% feared they had no future in the UK. 03453 009956. Let me just try and find some more of the figures. 1 in 6 felt Jews thought they were better than other people and had too much power in the media. 1 in 10 people claimed Jews were not as honest in business as other people. 1 in 10's not that bad a figure. I mean, it's still... but it's not that. So 90% of people think that Jewish people are honest in business. If you're specifically asked that question. 1 in 5 believe their loyalty to Israel made British Jews less loyal to the UK. I don't know what that means, loyal to the UK. I don't quite understand that one. Of those polled, men were more likely than women to believe at least one of the anti-Semitic statements which were put to them. 03453 009956. Ranjit, stay there. I'll come to you in a second. Matt's in Solihull. Morning, Matt.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. You heard Simon just before the news. What would you like to say?
Well, no, he might be very knowledge in other areas, but he doesn't know a lot about Jews. Well,
he was talking a lot of, I think we could say fairly, a lot of rubbish.
Yes, well, anyway, about Jews, a Jew man going back about 50 years ago asked me to come into company with him because I had something that he wanted and that I knew about that would suit his business. And I didn't go in with him, but I was friends with him for a long time, and he was a very decent person.
Yes.
He married an Irish girl, and I think she would be Catholic.
Right. Oh, gosh.
But he brought her poor old mother over and bought her a little cottage at Hindley and Arn.
Well, hang on. It sounds, Matt, suspiciously like you're saying that Jews are nice people.
He was a genuine type of a person.
Well, this is outrageous behaviour.
I don't think a lot of Jews are in prison, in fact. I don't think they're imprisoned. You know,
Right, Matt. How on earth do you know that?
Well, I studied them because
you've studied. Hang on a minute. Let me get this right. You've studied the percentage of prisoners that are Jewish.
They're not Jewish. No.
So the majority of prisoners.
In fact, I wouldn't think there's very little Jews in prison at all.
Matt, with the greatest of respect, sir, you're doing exactly the same as Simon was, in that you are pulling figures out of your backside.
I am not.
Well, you don't. Where have you got that from? No, not another thing.
Yes.
Where have you got that from?
From reading papers and listening to people talking and talking to Jewish people myself.
Okay, well, the ones that you were talking to,
no doubt weren't in prison. Ed Doolan is a Jew, isn't he?
I've got absolutely no idea.
And he's a nice person.
Matt, that's the thing, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Listen, there are nice Jews, there are nasty Jews. There are nice Muslims, there are nasty Muslims. There are nice Christians, there are nasty.
But anyway,
there are nice and nasty everyone. And that's the thing, isn't it? I don't know what religion Ed Doolan is, and that's the thing, isn't it? All of this religion stuff just gets in the way. We're all people, aren't we, Matt?
The only problem with you do talk too quick and don't give the one that's talking to you a bit of chance at all.
Matt, it's called having a conversation. You keep banging on and you don't reply to anything.
Yes, well, can we change the conversation?
Well, no, can we continue the conversation and have the conversation?
Yes, I want to ask you one question. You might be able to put me right. You know, the religion and circumcision seem to be joined up, aren't they? We'll say, take St. Joseph, he took the child to have it circumcised with some old fool of a man that probably, I don't know, had any medical knowledge at all. But that's carried out in the name of religion,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
What advantage is it to anybody?
It's so you don't get sand trapped in your penis. That's where it comes from originally.
Yes,
That's where
well,
it
your
comes from
willy,
originally.
we'll call it a willy.
Okay, Matt, will we?
Yes.
Yes.
So what advantage is it, or how is it that it is to do with religion?
I've got absolutely no idea whatsoever. You know,
so
the
you
majority...
cannot answer that question. And I was told by my mum, she said that fella is on Saturday, he might put you right.
Okay, well, maybe one day, Matt, we'll be able to have a conversation together. How about that? Huh? Something
Thank
to
you
aim
so much.
towards. Yes, okay. He doesn't listen. That's something to aim towards. We'll work towards that one day. 03453 009956. Ranjit!
Hiya, mate. You're right.
Flipping heck.
Listen, you ain't going to cut and run today, are you?
Listen, the number of calls you've had, Ranj, you've got the next 50 minutes if you want it.
Okay, three things. On Rainbow, I thought Jeffrey was a bit more camp than George.
Well, they were all quite camp. Zippy was quite butch, I thought.
Yeah.
Rod, Jane and Freddie, I always thought they were swingers. Even at a young age, that relationship was very suspicious to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Bungle and... it was a very camp programme.
I think Jeremy was the most camp.
Who was Jeremy?
He was... Jeffrey, sorry, not Jeffrey. Jeffrey, the bloke.
He was quite camp.
He was, wasn't he?
He ended up... Here's the fickle world of show business.
Okay.
He
And
ended up... Hello?
The second thing I want to talk about, yeah?
Yes. Guys, listen. Yeah. The next week, we're going to do a masterclass in having a conversation, OK? You don't just come on, make your points and then move on, all right?
OK.
Here's the sad thing about the fickle world of show business.
Go on.
What did Jeffrey end up doing?
Don't know.
Stacking shelves in a supermarket. Get him on Big Brother. Don't get Jordan on Big Brother. You want me to watch? Get Jeffrey from Rainbow on there.
Listen, and the second story...
Yes, Ranjit.
About people that do strange things in strange places.
Yeah.
I was at a gym once, and there was a couple in the jacuzzi who got a bit too hammerous. Yeah?
They got too what?
Hammerous.
Too what?
Lovey-dovey.
Hammerous?
Yes, that's the phrase we use.
Why would you use the phrase hammerous? Because that's not even a word.
Well, it's just a phrase somebody come up with one.
Do you mean
Amorous.
amorous?
Oh, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Amorous.
Anyway, amorous.
Yes.
And the jacuzzi had to be closed for a deep clean.
Oh,
I'll leave it to your imagination.
Oh, Ranjit.
That's not, honestly, that's true. That is.
I can believe it. That's the sad truth.
Okay.
When you were in the jacuzzi at the time.
No, I wasn't. No. I would have had to have a deep clean then.
Yeah.
And you know about the cinemas, yeah?
Yes.
If you went to watch an X-rated film...
Yeah.
And there was a woman sitting next to you or in a couple of seats away...
Yeah.
And her boyfriend got really loud, what would you do?
What do you mean got really loud?
You know, like if she had a battery-operated boyfriend with her...
Oh, for goodness. What the hell is going on? Ranjit? Flippin' heck. If anybody... Boy, oh boy, let's immediately after this show, we're going to erase all recordings of it, and we're going to come round to your house and erase your mind. This show never happened. If anybody was offended by that, well, yeah, my sincerest apologies. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You can send me a text, 81333. Start your text, WM, if you be so kind. Now, here's a couple in the newspaper. Hang on. Oh, no. Here's a couple I don't... I'm a what? Oh, OK. I wonder where that was going. I can see the way this works is I have a screen where the phone calls come in. I have several screens, but I can see where the phone calls are coming in. And Bernie or producer Joe will take the phone calls and they will type the name of the person. They'll type, for example, the next caller is Chris from Borsley Green. And they'll type what the person wants to talk about. And all I could see was, you're a P-R-A-T. It went that way. Should we see what Chris wants before we talk about this this annoying couple? I tell you what, because Chris wants to have a go at me. Fine, let's give him a fair crack of the whip. Let's get some travel. Here's Liz Saul. Liz?
Hello, Ian. It's still looking very problematic around Harborne this morning. You had those lane restrictions in place because of the unsafe building on Harborne Park Road between the High Street and Vivian Road. It's also affecting the High Street between Station Road and Harborne Park Road, so it's causing a bit of congestion in the area. Still delays around Cannock. Watling Street remains partially blocked because of a two-vehicle accident at the roundabout of the M6 toll junction T7. That's Churchbridge Island. You can get by, but obviously it's causing a little congestion at the scene of the accident. Police are still on scene as well. Heavy going as you head around Rotten Park in Birmingham, or City Road around Portland Road. There's four-way temporary lights there while some roadworks are going on, so that's adding to the general congestion. Pershaw Road towards the Belgrave interchange into the centre of Birmingham is looking very busy, as it is along Newtown Row and the junction with the A34. In Blackheath, Poke Lane is slow both ways. There's some roadworks near to the Holly Road junction, temporary lights in place while gas main works going on. Your matchday travel sees Walsall fans off to Colchester for this afternoon's game at the M6, the A14 and across to the M11. No reported delays and problems. Blues fans going to Leeds, the A38 and the M1, all both looking and flowing freely. If you can update us, 08453 0022 88.
Hunger, desire and fitness play a big part in this division.
Next week, BBC WM 95.6 hosts a Wolves Fans Forum with Kenny Jackett.
If you tell yourself you're tired, you will be. It's a privilege to be working in this industry.
In the build-up to the season's climax, Kenny answers your questions.
I've met him many times in the year and a half that I've been at the club, and he was a fantastic man.
From players to promotion hopes, it's your chance to question the head coach.
I feel now at 21 he's right for a permanent home.
Wolves Fans Forum with Kenny Jackett in the Jack Hayward Suite, Molyneux, Tuesday night from 6:30.
If we play as well as that, both home and away, things will turn for us.
For ticket information, log on to bbc.co.uk/WM.
Ian's email sums it all up. Ian from Wolverhampton. Good luck. After today's show, may I wish you good luck in your new job. Ian, I take that. Thank you, sir. Chris is on the line. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Ian.
I'm a prat.
Yes, you are.
Tell me why.
Why? Because you've got this really stupid way of dealing with people.
Oh, go on.
You're talking about that bloke that you were talking to previously, talking about he's talking out of his ass.
I didn't use that language.
What are you going on about, man? No, seriously. Listen, I came on the air a few weeks ago. We were talking about Sharia, the Hotel Sharia in London. Do you remember?
I don't remember, no.
I remember.
I remember.
And you told me.
Chris, let's have a conversation. Calm down. I didn't say talking out of his arse. I said talking out of his backside. I remember the topic.
Okay.
I don't remember the conversation with you. I hope that doesn't hurt you. But I talked to lots and lots of people, and I don't remember them all.
Okay, so why should
were you the one that was rude about my mum?
Why should you be putting somebody down?
Were you the one that was rude about my mum?
Sorry.
Were you the one that was rude about my mum?
About your mum? What are you talking about?
Well, then in that case, I don't remember you.
Okay. Well, remember me now, because you, a few weeks ago, were talking about Sharia. We do not want Sharia in this country.
I agree.
Okay, that's one subject. That was a few weeks ago.
Okay, Chris,
we
what
don't
have you,
want Sharia.
Chris, what have you... nor do I. What have you called in about today, mate?
About the way you were talking to people.
If you don't like it, go and listen to another show, sir.
And that's it, yeah? Well, so you're there. Yeah. I'm the powerless little working person here, right? And you have your say, and I don't have a say.
You're having your say,
listen to me.
Chris.
People in the media have to handle things better, including you. Don't talk about people talking out of the backsides, okay?
Chris.
Yeah.
You're a prat. Bye.
No.
03453 009956 is the telephone number. 50 quirky challenges. Wife set husband for 50th birthday. I hate these kind of people. For his 50th birthday, Jim Greenan was probably expecting a slap-up meal or a romantic break. Instead, all his wife Claire Potter gave him was a wicker box containing 50 brightly coloured pieces of paper. On each was written a small challenge to be done in order throughout the year. They ranged from... Just buy the man a present. Buy the bloke a present, for goodness sakes. They range from the routine, or now you call in, baking a loaf, to the daring, skinny dipping, and the bizarre, talking like a pirate, volunteering for a police identity parade? You can volunteer to be in a police identity parade? When did that become possible? I would love to do that. Mr. Greenan also had to try laughter yoga, a therapy using laughter, and to copy the art of October Jones, who photographs train... These sound like a right crazy couple, don't they? Who photographs train passengers with cartoon heads superimposed on them. The tasks were devised to fit around work, holidays and family life in Oxfordshire, with the couple's 15-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter. Miss Potter, a writer, said the idea was to make the year unique and out of the ordinary. Oh, it sounds wacky and awful and absolutely horrible, doesn't it? Blimey. So, on Mr. Greenwood's birthday last January, she presented him with the challenges. One of his... What? I don't understand this. What's wrong with just getting a birthday present? One of Mr. Greenan's... one of his favourites was photographing 10 strangers asking permission first on a family holiday to Warsaw. Mr. Potter said it gave them an insight in... I don't understand this. Why would anybody want... Should we go through some of these? These are some of the things he had to do. Put flowers on the grave of their home's former owner. Give teenage son a 6-second hug. Well, why would that even be a challenge? Why would you not be doing that to your teenage son anyway? Read adopted daughter's life book with her. I don't even know what that means. Buy an item of clothing from a charity shop that he really likes but isn't the sort of thing he normally wears and wear it. Well, he's wearing a fez. Is that it? Draw a map of his heart. Oh, this is just... why is this even in the newspapers? This is just awful. John. Morning, John.
Good morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
Only a quick comment. You was on a bit you'd love to do an identity
Well, this
parade.
fella, one of the things he did was volunteer for an identity parade. Is that how it works? You just go up to the coppers...
I think I used to do it years ago at Redditch Police Station, and I think I saw an advertisement somewhere. It was either in the press or it was when I went to the station for whatever reason I went there. Wasn't to be arrested, by the way. And I think I used to get, it was either 10 or 20 quid.
Hey, you get a few quid for it?
Oh, yeah, they pay you for it. There was about 15 or 20 of us there. We go into the room. The person who was doing the idea, there was one real crook there, obviously. We'll go behind a glass screen, which obviously we couldn't see. And that person, the crook, could reject a certain amount of people. There was always more than he needed. There was at least, I think there was about a dozen of us. And but they always had a few extras to allow for him to say, well, I don't like the look of you because you don't look nothing like me. He wanted somebody who could, if anything, could be mistaken for him or her, like if it was a female.
So you knew who the crook was?
Oh, yeah, we knew who he was, yeah.
Isn't that fun? So, and what sort? Do you know what the crime was or anything?
I can't remember now.
But they would tell you that this guy was a mugger or he was a rapist.
Yes,
or
I think they did.
Isn't that funny?
I recall something like that. But yeah, he could reject 2, 3, 4 people, and so could his solicitor. And we just sat there with our arms folded for a few minutes and cop the money and run.
Were you ever asked to step forward?
I'm glad to say I wasn't. No,
because that would be the worry.
I mean, the one I do recall, this guy was heavily tattooed on his hands, and that was one of his identifying marks. We couldn't show our hands. We all and he also wore a woolly hat type thing.
And
So
a striped vest and a bag marked swag.
A woolly hat
Yeah.
and have our arms folded tightly as not to show our hands. I mean, that was part of the identity. You know, that was part of his identity, was his heavily tattooed hands. But no, we couldn't show our hands. It was purely facial. The person had to judge by.
Well, blimey, it sounds very exciting,
Well,
though.
they stopped it now. They don't do it anymore. But I've done it many times in the past. I said it was either 10 or 20 quid I got for it. And I'd get a phone call, by the way, completely out of the blue. They'd ring me up one afternoon and say, John, are you free tonight to attend the parade at 7 o'clock? And I'd say yes or no.
John, listen, it sounds like those people that they go for, what do they call it? Experiments, the medical experiments. Is that a kind of slightly weird way of earning a few quid?
Well,
maybe not quite as dangerous.
Just money for all rope. It was a 5-minute drive into the town centre.
Beautiful.
20 quid in your back pocket. You know, copy it up, as I used to call it.
Yeah.
And money for all rope. But hey, so they don't do it anymore.
John, listen, thank you very much. That sounds a great way to earn a few quid. Ways you earned a few quid. I remember there was a trend when I was at college for people to make donations at sperm banks. You get 15 quid for it. Now, of course, they're regretting it because I think they're allowed to trace... Aren't the kids allowed to trace back the father? Mohammed's on the line. Morning, Mohammed.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss? Yeah, I'm all right, Mohammed. I'm looking forward to going home.
The ID parades
Yes.
are totally different now because I was coming out of court one day and the police stopped me and they said, will you go on an ID parade? I said, you are? You got to be joking. You know? I said, I ain't going on no ID parade.
Why would you not want to? Because I think that would be brilliant.
Well, at first I just couldn't be bothered, but the thing is, first of all, they have to pick somebody. They can't just have you, like I'm only 5 foot. They can't have me in an ID parade if they're looking for a guy who's 6 foot something.
Yes.
So they've got to all be a similar height to the person who's been arrested.
Yep.
Similar looking. You know, you can't be outrageous looking compared to the guy they've got. So, and then they used to do it the way that guy said, like, you know, that you stand behind the screen and, you know, you just pick out they pick out the person they think it is, like, you know. But now it's different because when I got attacked and was mugged in the streets, they picked a guy up who they thought it was and they asked me to see if I could identify him.
Yeah.
And it was totally ridiculous. You can't, because all you see now is a screen the size of a television, smaller than a TV you got in the house these days. And they show you his face, and then they show you a side view, left and right, like profile picture.
Yeah.
And then they show you several of these, and they go through so fast. And I said, but how do I know how tall the guy was? How do I know how small the guy is? Because this guy was 6 foot something, like, you know, who grabbed hold of me. And I said, I've got no chance of identifying him. He said, well, pick somebody who looks like him.
Oh.
I said, well, I couldn't see his face properly. He was holding me from behind. I was only trying to look at him. So, you know, I'm not surprised after these crimes are not being, solved because you can't identify people these days. It's ridiculous.
It's weird. They can't still do those things they used to do on Police 5, the photo fit. It must all be done on computer now because they would get the eyes of one person, the hair of another. Do you remember those kind of weird photos? It must all be done by a computer now.
I don't know how they do that, but I do know that when I went to identify this guy, or I thought I might be able to, you know, you got no idea how tall the person is. Like if I was charged, all you would see is my face from my shoulders.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know whether I was 6 foot or 3 foot or 2 foot.
And as we all know, you're a wee fella. I could put you in my pocket, Mohammed.
Yeah, I know.
Mohammed, listen, good to talk to you. Thank you. John's in Sheldon.
Good morning, Ian.
Oh, blimey. Good morning, John.
How are you?
I'm all right, fella.
2 things I want to talk about.
Yes,
First of all, the mobile phone, the idiots with the mobile phones. I know in people in cinemas and on buses.
Yes.
And the other one I want to talk about, a very important issue, is the certain local authorities are going to disband the lollipop people, which is ridiculous.
Blimey, yes.
Which one do you want to take first?
Let's go for the lollipop people, shall we?
Well, the lollipop people, I think, you know, they do an excellent job now. We've got an excellent lady on the corner of Yew Tree Lane and Church Road, Yardley at the Yew Tree, and she controls the traffic. but they still get idiots trying to get round her while she's got the lollipop in her hand. Now, if you take those lollipop people away, at my schools and that, you're going to have idiots going through. I think the government and the local authorities have got an issue here on the health and safety to protect children and adults, but more so in children. I think they're in breach of the Health and Safety Act if they take them off the streets.
They've got all the local authorities have got to save an absolute fortune, haven't they?
Mm.
And so, in the great scheme of things, you know, the parents should be helping their kids cross the road responsibly. Do we really need lollipop people?
I think we do at certain junctions, and as I say, this lady at the U-Tree, she's very strict with the motorists, and they do try and get round her. And she's got the lollipop up, crossing children out over the road. Yeah. And even with the parents, you know, they're still trying to get through. I think it's a very serious issue, especially regarding children and the elderly.
I know. Here's the bizarre thing, John. I know this, that there is a huge increase, or there has been in the last couple of years, in abuse thrown at lollipop people.
Yeah.
They get shouted at. They have people driving at them. Yeah. And do you know what the black strip on the lollipop... You know that it's got the round lollipop. There's a black strip in the middle. What's that black strip for, John? Do you know?
I don't know, actually, no.
Every lollipop person is supposed to have a piece of chalk in their pocket, and it's to write down the number plates of people who drive badly.
Yeah. Well, this one at the U-Tree, there's a drain there that's been blocked for years and years, and if they see her there, they drive through deliberately to try and drown the poor lady. It's disgusting.
Oh, blimey.
But I'm on about the health and safety issue of the children and adults, especially the elderly, crossing over the road.
Yeah.
If they don't stop for the lollipop person, they wouldn't stop for some of these others. Regarding mobile phones...
Yes, John.
2 issues. One, some years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in the paper, there was some gentleman on I don't know if it was a train or a tube in London, on the phone, constantly talking, and somebody was taken ill, and people on the tube or train were pleading him to disconnect his call and ring 999 because they suspected the person having a heart attack.
Oh.
And then he started panicking. They disconnect the call and it's urgent. And in the end, you had to tell him it was a plastic phone, toy phone.
Hang on, so who had the toy phone? A fella?
This fella, yeah.
Why was he using a toy phone?
Because they like to impress people. The other instance is, I don't travel on the number 17 bus very often from Yardley to Birmingham City Centre, but on 3 occasions when I have been on a bus, around about 5 o'clock, there's a young man about 20 years of age gets on, sits halfway down the bus, and he's got his mobile phone out, and he's giving instructions to somebody. I've told you to do this tonight, now you must do it. And then you get on with this other job first thing in the morning. Well, I see. And 3 times, different periods of times, about the same time, but different, over a period of time.
Yes.
And the one night I said, "Excuse me," I said, "You could get locked up for that. You're talking to yourself on the phone. It's what you mean." I said, "You're trying to impress everybody that you're some sort of senior manager, and you're not talking about it. So please put your phone in your pocket and stop doing it." And he did.
John, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. The lollipop person, the thing that gets me about the lollipop people is the ones that are stood at Pelican Crossings where you just press the button and you wait for the light to shut. You don't need someone to do that, do you? Morning, Andy. What have you got for us? What have you got for us?
I'm just in total agreement with the last caller, really, about those lollipop people.
Yeah, go
on. All you ever hear is cuts.
Yeah.
We'll turn the street lights off after 12 o'clock at night in certain areas.
Yeah.
Let's remove the lollipop people. Litter pickers. We never see a litter picker where I live. It's all you ever hear is public cuts all the time.
There's no money, though, is there?
Well, there is no money now, but why cut back on essential services? Like the last caller said, John, you're messing about with people's lives here. It's people's lives at risk.
In the great scheme of things, though, Andy, and I have a lot of respect for lollipop people, but in the great scheme of things, if we're having to cut corners wherever we can, we don't really need lollipop people, do we? Surely the responsibility should be on the parents. We should be on the parents to get their kids across the road safely.
I think you're absolutely right. That's a valid point there. I would say probably 90% parents, yes, but without these people, they do an essential service, they do an essential job, and these people should not be taken away. They are needed.
Not the ones that work at traffic lights. I've seen lollipop people at traffic lights. That's silly, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course it is, yeah, at traffic lights, yes, because you've got, obviously, you've got the signs, for stop and go, but zebra crossings, why take these people away from zebra crossings? Well, like the last caller says, sometimes they even try and drive through. I've actually seen it where there's been a lollipop lady and called the children through, and a car has gone straight past, and that was on the Bunbury Road in Northfield.
Yeah.
They're absolute lunatics.
Andy, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956.
Darlaston,
Edgbaston,
Erdington,
Paisley, Gornal Wood. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM 95.6.
If Daz wants to start early at any point, just Daz, you're more than welcome to take up the reins. Helen, stay there. I'll come to you in a second. Keith is next. Morning, Keith.
Hello, mate. How are you? Hey, twice in last week and this week. Go on.
What?
I spoke to you.
Sorry?
I've spoken to you twice.
Hey, that's like... people are going to start talking, Keith.
Oh, no, that's what I'm talking... Actually, it was twice the other week, Friday and the Saturday.
Well, let's try and leave it for the next year, shall we?
You never know. It could be a good idea, couldn't it?
It could be.
Eating lollipops.
Yeah.
Now, I've actually seen... But this is true.
Yeah.
I've actually seen parents trying to cross the road with the kids and, cars have carried on coming now.
Yeah.
They're not always on it. You see, the problem is... You haven't always got a zebra crossing or a pelican crossing handy to the schools. So I suppose if you're going to cut back, you've got to look at it where it is most essentially needed.
Right.
And then you're going to get the argument, well, it's needed here, it's needed there. And I don't think it's an easy one you're going to win with. I mean...
Right, Keith, let's cut to the chase, right? Do we really need lollipop ladies and men? I think the answer is they are useful, they are an asset, they do a brilliant job, but no, we don't.
Well, let's put it this way. There's one or two things we don't really need and we've got, but...
well, let's get rid of those as well.
Oh, there is and there is. I mean, there's lots of things you could say we need and we don't need, but we need it because it's part of life. It is part of life, Iain. Now, I mean, it's a classic one. I mean... Not getting too political.
Oh, gosh.
But we sold the NEC group.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Now, our wonderful bank, Lloyd's TSB.
Yes.
Well, Lloyd's actually not... Oh, sorry, TSB, you're not involved now. Lloyd's, who the government bailed out, bear in mind the banks, have just paid, was it 3 something million, I forget the price anyway, they said it was on the...
Yes.
Value. Now, I want to know who owns the NEC group now, because... If Lloyd's Bank is owned by the government or the public, if you like...
But, OK, Keith, why are you bothered who owns the NEC? They sold it, what, 360 million quid? That sounds like a good price to me. I could do with 360 million. That's a good price.
I think, basically, because I don't think the money's going to go... When they were asked where it was going to go to, I don't think the money's going to be used in the way you'd expect it anyway. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they'll decide what they want to do, so whatever. But I think... Yeah, I am bothered what happened to the NEC, and I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Because in Birmingham, over the years, there were a lot of cutbacks. They said a lot of it was generated by European money, but there was a lot of cutbacks in Birmingham to fund the NEC group and the NIA and the ICC as it was then.
Keith, are you really bothered?
Look.
But you'll still be able to go and see Duran Duran at the NEC.
Look. What I'm saying to you is this.
Yes.
The citizens of Birmingham...
Yes.
They bought that... built that at NEC. It was quite a marvel in the 70s when they built it.
Yeah.
And that was to earn money for the city.
Right.
Now they've sold it. And really, to be fair, I think it cost the city a lot of money. They're still paying for it.
Well, in that case, good. If they're still paying for it, good to get rid of it then.
Yeah, but that won't pay the mortgage on it. I mean, equally, Iain, it's like anything, isn't it? At the end of the day, there are a lot of things being sold off because we can't afford. I mean, the new library in Birmingham, that's a classic example.
Yeah, yeah. That's
I mean, you see where I'm coming from.
I see exactly where you're coming from, Keith, and I see where you're going. Helen's in Stafford. Morning, Helen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Helen.
How are you?
Oh, I can't wait to be in my car. I can't wait. You know, some days it works. Most days it works, and some days you think, we missed one. I feel we missed one today, and that's absolutely fine. You can't have a 100% hit rate, but it's always disappointing when you deal a dud.
Well, I admire you for the way you come across.
Oh.
I absolutely do.
Uh-oh.
And I love...
Hello? Who cut her off? She was saying something nice about me. Who cut her off? Helen? She was saying something nice about me. 03453 009956. It's true, you know. With yesterday's show was probably one of the best shows we've ever done, producer Joe and I. But if you missed it, we do a show Friday, 2 till 4. If you missed it, go to the iPlayer and have a listen. One of the best shows we've ever done. Today's is not so good. It don't always work. And that's just being honest. It doesn't always work. Now, regular listeners will know I'm not a fan of tattoos. I don't get them. I think they're silly. Particularly someone who's had it done for a stunt. A Curry fan, and who isn't a Curry fan, let's be honest. A Curry fan had his favourite Indian takeaway tattooed on his leg to scoop free dinners. Ay, flip it. Really? Marathon runner Paddy Sheridan Ruddy offered the eatery advertising for life in return for a charity donation and curries for a year, Helen, who's suddenly come back. Curries for a year, because are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
OK. Curries for a year because he got the name of the curry house tattooed on his leg.
No, you're all right with that one.
Yeah, this bloke's a plum, isn't he?
Right, what I was trying to say, sorry, we've got some builders in, so my electric is cut off, so my signal went.
Yes.
Like I was saying, I love your show. I love how controversial you are. I love how straight you are.
Right, but...
Really do. And hence why myself and my 18-year-old son listen to you, and he's going, what a...
Oh.
And I go, no, actually, I agree with what he's saying.
Oh, blimey.
Hang on,
the kids aren't digging me. You're joking. I thought I was hip with the kids, Helen.
Yes, but he argues with you all the time.
I'm going to come round there and I'll argue with him over a game of Xbox. That'll learn him. That'll learn him,
right.
little so-and-so.
What I will say, what did upset me on Friday...
Yes, Helen.
At the end of Caroline Martin's show, she was doing what drinks...
Yes.
Disagree with people.
Yes.
And I rang up and said it was red wine.
That was you!
And I said,
blimey, here we go.
I got pregnant 4 times on red wine.
Yes.
And you said, I cannot believe the filth that you talk to.
Oh, Helen, that was a joke. Come on.
Okay.
No, I didn't say the filth that you talk... I wouldn't call it... Oh, flip it. I wasn't calling you filth. The filth that you talk about. It was a joke, Helen.
Oh, all right. I'll let you off with that
Good.
one. But I did actually take that quite personally.
Oh, well, Helen, you're a silly sausage. I didn't say the filth that you talk to, the filth that you talk about, the implication being her show was full of sex and innuendo.
And your show today has been about sex and innuendo.
Exactly. It's a joke, Helen. Sweet Lord. Can we dig out Close to the Edge by Yes and play it? It's 15 minutes long. Can we just spend the rest of the show playing that and I'm going to go and bash my head with a brick?
I'll tell you what, I'll bring the brick.
Thank you very much. They're the filth that call me up. 03453 009956 is the phone number. Anne's on the line. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Iain. Thank you for a wonderful couple of hours of entertainment.
That was yesterday. Today, never mind. What have you got for us, Anne?
Just a question. I found it absolutely fascinating that the black strip on the lollipop is to write down the registration number.
That's a true fact. I don't think anyone does it anymore, but lollipop people are supposed to have a piece of chalk in their pocket, and the black slip is to write down the number of cars that are dangerous drivers.
Yeah, well, I've come up with a spanner in the works there.
Oh, go on.
As much as
if
the lollipop person was unfortunate enough to be knocked over and knocked unconscious...
That would be awkward, wouldn't it?
How are they supposed to do that?
Well, in that case, then, that's their fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that, in that case, if they're unable to jot down the licence number of the car, then that car gets off scot-free. Do we need lollipop people anymore, Anne?
I think so. I think they are important.
But surely, the parents should be helping kids cross the road to get to school.
Maybe some parents want to give their children a little bit of independence and wait on the other side of the road for them.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, OK, wait for the lollipop person, meet mummy or daddy over the road.
Here's the thing, Anne. As a grown man, this happened to me last year, at the age of 40. I went to cross a road near a lollipop person and she stopped me. She said, wait until I say it's clear. And I went, oh, yeah, sorry, OK. I'm 40 years old. I can cross the road whenever and wherever I want.
So why did you choose to cross with the lollipop person?
Well, it was a place that was convenient for crossing, and she stopped me.
Oh, I know what it was, Ian.
Go on.
You hadn't got your short trousers and your cap on.
That'll be it. Let's get the travel news. Here's Liz.
Thanks, Ian. Sorry, it's just the image of you in short trousers and a flat cap. Anyway.
You love it.
Of course. Around Harborne, there's a lane out in each direction. Harborne Park Road between the High Street and Vivian Road. Also the High Street between Station Road and Harborne Park Road. A little bit busy around there with those restrictions in place. It's for safety reasons, really, because of the unsafe building, the disused pub there. But you can at least get by. As you make your way around Rotten Park in Birmingham, it's still heavy going on City Road at Portland Road. There are roadworks there and four-way temporary lights in place. Through Handsworth is busy now on Soho Road, and it's still a bit slower around Newtown Row and the A34 in that area. Much better news around Cannock, Watling Street, clear of that accident by Churchbridge Island, the junction with the M6 toll at junction T7. Your match day travel sees Walsall fans off to Colchester, but you need to get a bit of a move on as you head down the M6 and on to the A14 towards the M11, and making your way to Leeds, Blues fans. It's a clear run on the A38, not too many problems reported or delays on the M1 either through the roadworks 28 to 31. If you can update us, 08453 002288.
Original British drama on BBC One.
Donata's house, midwife speaking.
A new year brings new beginnings.
Hello, I'm the new midwife.
There is no one here to entertain you. They are all abroad.
Abroad? With new achievements.
Bravo, old thing. I really do believe that was a first.
Baby, I'm yours. And new challenges.
If you do not consult a doctor, who is to say where it will end?
The new series of Call the Midwife starts Sunday night at 8 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Tony's in Edgbaston. Good morning, Tony.
Hi, good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
About your Pelican crossings, etc.
Yes.
Years ago, I know it's going back a bit, the police used to control the zebra crossings and schools.
Yeah.
And then the lollipop ladies came in.
Yeah.
But at no expense, the community police officers could do that, what the lollipop ladies do, free of charge.
But then, shouldn't the... and I know what you're saying. Shouldn't the community police officers be doing whatever it is they're supposed to be doing anyway? Which I'm not quite sure what that is.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But on the compromise, you could say, well, the lollipop ladies are only there for like a half an hour or an hour in the mornings and maybe the same in the afternoon.
We're talking about the getting rid of lollipop ladies to save money. I'd love to know what the budget is for lollipop people, because it can't be millions.
It's not a lot.
I can't believe it's more than a few grand per council, surely.
No. I mean, like Birmingham Council, they borrow millions to build a library, and then they couldn't afford it. They hadn't got the ready cash. They borrowed the money, and they're paying £1 million a month interest on the loan they got for the library.
Wasn't the library an embarrassment? The library's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's one of the greatest libraries in Europe. Let's be proud of it. But hey, hang on. Shouldn't you have worked out whether you can afford it first?
Exactly. If you've got the money, then you can go shopping. But to borrow the money and then pay £1 million, and it's our money, by the way,
and then to
taxpayers.
And then to halve the number of staff and halve the number of hours it's open.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is a little bit silly.
Thanks anyway.
Tony, thank you very much. 03453 009956 is the phone number. Daz, are you there?
I'm here, yeah. How you doing?
All right, you sound a bit grumpy. What's wrong?
I'm not grumpy now. I've been enjoying listening. Last film I went to, the remake of Annie a couple of weeks ago with my daughter. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
It's good.
No, it's not.
It's Jamie Foxx. Yeah, we played Ray Charles. Yeah, he's in it. Like Miss, what's her name? Cameron Diaz.
Yeah,
as Miss Hannigan.
But the first Annie was pretty poor.
That is much better than that.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'll get a bit of it. Come on, it's hard knock live, but and all that's fabulous.
Wowzers! Do they do all the? What's the Sun will come out tomorrow?
Oh yeah, that's every. It's all been funked up and jazzed up, and it's all R&B now. It's really good.
Yeah.
Get down with the kids. Put your baseball cap on, back to front.
I saw Paddington the other week. Paddington's a good film.
Well, I know some actor, comedian, writer Steve Edgy was in Phoenix Nights.
Yeah.
He's in it. He's got one scene getting drunk with Julie Walters.
Oh, he's the security guard at the Natural History Museum. That's good. He's good. He's brilliant in it.
Yeah, he's a good man.
There's loads of faces in it from people I used to work with and people that if you've ever watched British comedy, you'll go, oh, I know it. Oh, I know him. There's loads of them popping up. It was nice to see.
It's great. Great film. I'll have a bit of that and all in.
And Nicole Kidman. I mean, she's like 63 now, but still, wowzers.
Yeah.
What a lady.
Yes.
What a lady.
Although one of my favourite films has got to be going back 6 Sense. Oh, yes.
Here we go. You going to do a joke for us?
No, and of course, for those who haven't seen it, the twist at the end, right, is that Bruce Willis...
Don't, because I still get, right, years ago I used to work on a television programme called The 11 O'Clock Show.
Oh,
right?
I know that, yeah.
You used to watch it when you were a kid. And the end of The Sixth Sense was revealed on there, controversially. I still get people now... I had some fella the other day on Twitter sending me proper abuse for spoiling the end of Sixth Sense. It wasn't even me. It was Daisy, the woman I used to present it with. She said it.
Well, I was going to say, Bruce Willis got through the whole film without wearing a white vest. That was all I was going to say. That was all I was going to say.
Desmond Hale, top
And then he's doing a new Die Hard film as well now, isn't he?
I'm just going to keep quiet.
He's going to do another Die Hard film.
Go on, Daz,
yeah. But obviously he's getting on a bit now. So this time, instead of being a cop, he's working in admin. Yeah. Die Hard 5, this time it's personnel. Hey? You can have that one.
Daz, sorry, I should have flagged this up. You know we're on the radio. This isn't a private phone conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, people are listening to this right now. Yeah. Daz, where are you and
Yes.
what football matches will you be discussing?
Right, well, we're on from midday, and I'm at Molineux today. It's going to be a very emotional day at Molineux, as obviously the club bids farewell and pays tribute and celebrates the life of Sir Jack Hayward. And we'll have that game live on DAB in the Black Country and on Freeview Channel 722. Our FM commentary this afternoon is at Ellen Road. It's Leeds against Blues. Francie and Rigo will be our boys up there, and we'll be checking in with them this afternoon on early kick-off as well. Villa-Liverpool at Villa Park. Now, will the Villa fans be protesting? Will they refuse to take their seat until 8 minutes past 3, which is what has been...
Why is that?
Well... 8 years since Randy Lerner took control of the club, and 8 will mean that there's 82 minutes to go, and it was 1982 that they won the European Cup, which is a bit like a clue from a Ted Rogers quiz show.
Yes.
It's all a bit... But
it's a MacGuffin, yeah.
It is, yeah, and we've got Colchester Walsall as well, so we're building up to all the games from midday. This afternoon, because John Charles used to play for Leeds, we want to know about Brits abroad. Can you think of any British footballers who played abroad, and any who actually did well, because very few of them actually were a success. I also want to know about the goal you went most crazy to, the one that everyone loves a goal, but the one where you actually ended up falling down and kissing strangers and going berserk. The goal you went most crazy to. And on the day we remember Sir Jack, your memories of him as well. And did you ever meet Sir Jack Hayward? If so, give us a call and tell us all about it.
It sounds excellent. Thank you very much indeed. That's Daz from midday.
Iain Lee.
On BBC WM.
95.6. The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
David is on the line. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
Well, you seem to be a fountain of knowledge today about
yes.
the lollipop stick, yeah. And
yes, sir.
You are correct, I knew.
Thank you.
So, I wondered if you knew this. Why does Bungle Bear in Rainbow walk around naked, yet when he goes to bed, he puts pyjamas on?
Well,
do you remember that?
It's 40 years out of date, but yes, I do remember that. Bungle Bear used to wear pyjamas, didn't he?
He did.
Paddington is naked as well, and there's no,
Oh, is he? I don't know. I haven't watched the film.
Well, he's naked, and then he puts a coat on to cover himself up.
And Wellingtons.
And Wellingtons, yeah. Okay, here you go. Who was it who first put Wellingtons on Paddington?
Wasn't it one of the production team?
No.
Don't know.
Jeremy Clarkson's mum.
Oh, right.
Because she owned I think I've got this right. She owned the company that made that got the rights to make the toy of Paddington, but Paddington wouldn't stand up. So she said, I know what, let's put him in Wellingtons, and that's why he wears Wellingtons.
Who invented Tipp-Ex?
Mike Nesmith's mum. Next.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. Am I right?
You're right.
David, thank you very much indeed. Who invented Tipp-Ex? It was the mum of one of the monkeys. Of course I'm going to know that, David. Of course I'm going to know it. So this fella, he's had the name of his favourite curry house tattooed on his leg. Jamie Palmer, the owner, agreed to give him curries for a year, and Paddy, 31 from Preston, 31, he looks older than me, had the words "Order curry online, indianexpress.co.uk" inked on the back of his leg. He's doing the running because his dad died of a heart attack. Well, good for you. Well done. Jamie didn't think I was being serious at first, but once he realised I was, he said he would pay me per mile and give me free curries for a year. For a year! Paddy, who already has dot-to-dot, aeroplane and umbrella tattoo, said, the Indian Express one is just another for the collection. I do wonder, why would you do these things to your bodies? I mean, really. 03453 009956. Here's a story I think I can do now that the room next door has been full of people. I think I can do it. Party girl Jenny Tuster was arrested at a hen night. Can I do this one? I think I can. I think I can do this one, Joe. I think I can do this one. Party girl Jenny Tuster was arrested at a hen night after hitting a stripper in Sydney, Australia. Why did she hit him? His willy was too small. That's why. His willy was too small. Is that really a legitimate reason to be able to whack a stripper, do you think? Is that appropriate? It's the
Possibly
last.
not.
It's the last few minutes of the... Why... Now, I can understand why men will go to strippers, because men, when they are sexually excited, it's a visual thing, isn't it? It's kind of... The men work on the visual level, and women work on the, I don't know, intellectual, emotional level. Is that more...
Possibly, yeah.
So why would women go to see... What do women get out of seeing a stripper? It doesn't appeal to you, does it?
Not particularly,
I
no.
wouldn't... I've been to lap dancing club about 20 years ago. I wouldn't go now. It was all a bit seedy and horrible. But... it was exciting because you're seeing a woman taking her clothes off. It's weird, and it made me uncomfortable, and I wouldn't want to go and do it now. But that same thing can't work for women, going to see blokes.
Well, it does work for some women, I think.
Really?
Well, it must do, because otherwise there wouldn't be things like, is it the Dream Boys or something?
The Dream Boys. Are they still a thing?
Currently, my next-door neighbour is obsessed with the Dream Boys.
Really?
Yeah, I don't get it at all.
Lorraine, have you ever been to see a stripper?
No.
No, I can't understand quite why it would work for a lady.
Well, I suppose it's just a little bit of excitement, tickling excitement.
Oh, I don't think you're allowed to tickle.
I'm not phone about strippers.
No.
I'm a lollipop lady.
Oh, well, congratulations, Lorraine.
Yes. We are very important to the community.
Tell me why.
Well, imagine a dual carriageway, no pelicans, no crossing facility, and you have to rely on two ladies to cross the children to a young school.
Yeah.
Some of the roads are so busy, and even when we stand in the middle of the road, we have drive-throughs.
Right.
So we are needed.
Well, but the parents could do that, though, couldn't they?
Yeah. Some of the parents, it's taking their life in their own hands on the roads today. You know, I wouldn't believe everyone that passes us hasn't got a child that hasn't relied on a lollipop lady. You know, it takes 2 minutes out of their life to stop. Just 2 minutes.
And how much do lollipop ladies earn? What's the going rate for a lollipop lady?
We don't earn a lot. It's the love of the job for most of us.
Oh. Then why? Because we heard of... The whole reason we're talking about lollipop ladies, and hats off to you, Lorraine, for doing it, is that someone phoned up and said that lollipop people, men and women, were being got rid of to save money.
Yeah, we had our cutbacks, but the most important areas that needed the crossings, and they are dangerous areas, we were kept.
OK.
So first to Wolverhampton Council.
Do you have a piece of chalk in your pocket?
We do, to take registrations down, but a lot of the times have to go over our head.
Oh, OK.
Just smile at the moment.
Hey, have you got the... Because some lollipop ladies, they were going to introduce cameras into the sticks, weren't they, to film things?
Some have. I think some have. We haven't. We more or less note down a drive-through and we hand it to our superiors and they deal with it then.
They go and find them and shoot
Yeah.
them. Yeah, OK. Lorraine, listen, keep up the good work. Thank you very much indeed. That's it. That's your lot. Let's all breathe a sigh of relief. If you want to send me an email in the week, well, why the hell wouldn't you? Iain.lee@bbc.co.uk. IAIN.LEE@bbc.co.uk. I'm done for another week. Back on Friday between 2 and 4 and next Saturday between 9 and 12, inshallah. Daz is up next. Until then, from me, well, ta-ta.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
And coming up next then, we start our build-up to all of today's big games in early kick-off with me, Daz Hale. I want to know about the goal you went most crazy to, Brits who've played abroad, and also, we're here at Molyneux today, your memories of Sir Jack. Did you ever meet him? 03453 00 9956. But first on BBC WM at